Yes, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what it is. I want to start by saying a happy Juneteenth. You know, this is a holiday for us, the real Independence Day, as far as I'm concerned, which is why you see what I'm dressed in. Wakanda forever. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the podcast is real. I am your host, King Drell. And again, as you see what it is, because this is a special edition, because look, black folks is out tonight. All right. Hopefully not too far out, because we still want y'all to come, chill with us on the podcast tonight. But black folks are definitely out tonight. But you know what? It's not really about me right now, because at the bottom of my screen, we have the King of New York, the man who's wearing, we cousins. If you ain't seen Sinners, I don't know what's going on. I mean, look, it's Juneteenth. Y'all need to go ahead and stick there. Give it up for Jasirii!
Oh, you don't know the vibes.
If we're talking about black people, we got to do it right. Because I guess right now, I've said it a few times on my socials, he is a cosplay king. I was telling you, cosplay royalty. If there's been anywhere that cosplayers, especially black cosplayers, can be featured, he has been featured there. But not just black cosplayers, regular cosplayers. Hello, Crunchyroll. Hello, Funimation, and everything above. This man is definitely killing the game. You can find him at his own booths at cons. Look, I'm trying to get on his level. I'm just going to go ahead and say it like that. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Venture Bros!
What's good? What's good? You know what I'm saying? Happy to be here, man. Appreciate y'all so much,
As we calm it down for the Juneteenth edition of the podcast is real. King of New York, I'm going to start with you. How you doing tonight, bro?
Man, you already know the vibes. We blessed, we highly favored, and we black. Come on now. Ain't nothing better than that. So we outside, we here, and we about to give them a great-ass episode, because you already know what's about to happen.
Absolutely. Like I said, you can't tell black folks nothing today.
Facts.
Venture, how you doing tonight, bro?
Hey, man, I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? It's been a good Juneteenth. I already ate too much earlier. You know what I'm saying? People having get-togethers and stuff. I see all the black people out. Everybody having a good time. You know what I'm saying? I know some people didn't get off work, but still, those who did have been able to enjoy it. And it's just been beautiful to see,
Hey, and that's what's beautiful. You know what? Actually, we'll just go ahead and start right there, because we normally go into the week that was when we start our podcast. But you know what? The day that was is what's most important, because today is, of course, our holiday. So what did you do for Juneteenth today?
So let me think. I hit the gym up for a little bit. Then after that, I chill with my boy. He had like a little cookout thing. Then it was like a little block party in my neighborhood, so I went to that. And you know what I'm saying? After that, I started doing a little crafting and shit. Now I'm here with you boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, crafting. And anyway, we need to know what you're crafting over there. What you got cooking up?
I'll say, you know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all know, you know what I'm saying? I'm cooking up a Gundam. I'm not gonna tell y'all which Gundam, but I'm cooking up a Gundam.
Hey, still at least something.
Hey, it's builder season, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this con season coming up, about to really come with it, man. It's time for us to step it up,
About to eat?
Yes, sir, because con season has officially begun, and they're about to start hitting back to back to back. So it is time. But King of New York, as I see you over there looking off, what did you do today for Juneteenth?
All right, so you already know in New York, there's a little festival. There's a park called Roy Wilkins Park. You know what I mean? And it's like there was a festival today. It was mad people outside, and it's a good thing because I only live a couple blocks away from it. I went over there, got to celebrate with the people in them, and my phone died as soon as I got over there. I didn't feel like going back for the charger, so I enjoyed myself. I did the little painting, I did the little whole football throws, did the little basketball. You feel me? I made 3 threes. I made 3 threes. That was a competition, and I actually won.
How many tries though?
I was just about to say 3 out of
3 out of 3. I went 3 for 3 from the 3 line.
Okay.
Listen, and I've been practicing too. I was like the arch in the elbow with the extend. Oh, hold on.
Okay. This is
Name
get a
the
little.
2 finger, not
All
the
right.
3. You feel me?
Hey, Steph Curry with it. I hear you.
Yeah. So that was a fun day overall. It was a great experience. Like a lot of people, you felt the love in the community because that's what New York is. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you also did some other stuff because I know you've been doing some work. I know who's at your house right now. We talked about it backstage.
Yes, I got a lot of shoots in. I was here with the CEO of Shades of Otaku, feel me, Just a Fro. His documentary is coming out soon. He's been a part of Geeketry. He's been at all the cons. He's been running it up, especially for our community. You feel me? It's a black cosplay nerd experience. So
I'll be at cons, man. I'll be at cons and I'll look over. I just see him with a camera. I'm like, oh man, you working again? You know what I'm saying? Shoot.
yeah, he's doing it for us.
Yeah. Facts.
Especially at these last several cons, he's not just gonna shove the camera out there. He's gonna get the music videos going.
Yup. Bye.
And if you've seen the last several, especially dating back to Anime NYC last year, like they've been going crazy.
That's offending.
Hell yeah.
And he tries to get everybody involved. It's like not even trying to be like exclude anybody. He just see you. If he knows you, he rock with you. It's like, hey, I need you to get this video, even if it's just for a couple of seconds. It's like, hey man, I need you to be a part of this.
That's a fact.
No, I think that's where I met him. Matter of fact, Anime NYC. That's where I first met him. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up. Is he going to Anime NYC this year, or are you going to Anime NYC this year?
Listen,
I'm gonna make an appearance at Anime NYC this year. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and take my to expensive New York. You know, shit.
Take his talents to New York.
The South, you know what I'm saying? I can get away with some easy prices being cheap, but New York, it's like, oh man, let me save up a little bit and make this trip.
No, I get it. I'm actually officially saving up right now because I'm already missed one Anime NYC. I went last year. I didn't go the year before that. I went the year before that. I'm going this year because I'm a content creator, so I got to go there and definitely represent. As people saw on my page, I did get accepted as a content creator again. Yes, I will actually give myself a round of applause on that because hard work pays off. And it doesn't really matter though, because like I said, all I'm trying to do is bring a community together and just help make great content that people can enjoy, entertain, of course, getting more recognition for this podcast. So I've been pushing a lot of podcast content a lot lately. And look, I just want to see us all win, bro.
Mm-hmm. Fact. That's that mindset to have. All of us win because it's room at the table.
Yes. That one needs to be said one more time.
Hey, it's room at the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We all can eat.
Especially in the way that they do now with social media and everything. Like, look, we all can eat. No one has to be left out, guys. So just remember that, because I know there's some people that's like, oh, and unfortunately, you're still always going to have those some that's like, hey, they want to see you grow up as long as it ain't bigger than them. And it's just like,
right.
Got to get out of that mindset.
For real.
Anybody that's been on this podcast several times knows that my mindset on that is I don't care if somebody's doing better than me. In fact, I know people out there that are. I'm sitting here with someone who currently is. All that does is motivate me to get to their levels. It's not going to make me hate. Hate for what?
Exactly. Because I see how it is on their side, on the other side. That's not, they'll work together so they all could come up, So we gotta be on that same mode, that same mindset. Like, hey, you doing better than me? Cool. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can help me get an opportunity that I can't get. Maybe I can help you get an opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. If I see somebody doing better than me, I'm not gonna be like, I can't believe it. No, show me the blueprint. Is there anything you can tell me I'm doing wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, help me get to you.
Right. Like, help me.
Because I'll say this story real quick before we get to the showcase. Like, there are some people, I'm not going to say their names, in this community that have actually really looked up to me a couple of years back, and they came to me for advice, about like how I was doing my content on TikTok and stuff like that. And I don't gatekeep any of that stuff. It's like, look, this is what I do. This is how I format my stuff. This is how I structure my stuff to kind of manipulate the algorithms a little bit. And Jasirii might know this because I was doing it at Geek Retreat as well. I would just sit there like, look, this is what I know. And, if it helps y'all even a little bit, we'll have this conversation. They're just like, man, I can't believe you're giving that conversation. Like, why would I not get that conversation?
Right.
And the end result is some of the people that I gave that conversation to 3 years ago, their numbers are better than mine now. And I'm not mad about that. I'm happy.
Right. No, that's how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? It was an old saying. An old saying they used to use in a lot of kung fu movies, man, where it was like honor your master and that honors yourself, right?
Yep.
So the inverse to that, if I teach someone something or help someone out with my methods and they do well, that's reflecting on me. You know what I'm saying? That's reflecting on me. I help them do well. So it's not going to be jealousy there or, animosity there. It's going to be like, okay, they coming up. You know what I'm saying? Now they can help the next person. And that's how that web happens,
Plus, honestly, I love chasing greatness. Like, that's just something that I like because I feel like, sometimes if you get to the top, then some people get complacent. Then it's like, okay, now they're not trying as hard as they used to. And it's like they're still putting the content out, but the love ain't quite like what it was. So it's like, even my fellow brothers and sisters, it's like if I help y'all, and if me helping y'all helps y'all get up here and leave me behind down here, now I have something new to chase. So it's like, great. See, now I got to get up there. I got to meet y'all up there. Y'all at the top. We got to go through the door together. And I got to make sure we go through the door together, which is why I have this no person left behind mindset.
Right. And, to your point of, it's nothing wrong with chasing greatness, like the competitiveness. I was in at DreamCon, I was in a panel. It was me, Tiff Skittles, Rakoy, and Kai Blackish. And in the panel, they asked, like, what keeps you've been cosplaying for 8 years, what keeps you driven? I was like, as soon as I see somebody do something cold, I want to outdo it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I want to outdo them as a person, because as them as a person, I love the fact that they killed it. You know what I'm saying? If I see a good cosplay that's killing it, I immediately like, damn, you really had to kill me like that. But that also makes me want to step my game up. Like, all right, now I gotta come with something serious. Because you done made it, you done got up here, now let me go ahead, get up there too. And there's nothing wrong with that. That healthy competition brings everybody up. It makes us all step it up, So a lot of people, they look at it like kind of negative. Some people in the panel, they looked at it like a negative thing. And I was like, no. Having a competitive mindset does not make it a negative thing. That just means you're a competitor in your heart, your spirit. You like to step it up. But without that competition there, you're not going to be even thinking about stepping it up. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand that.
And, and because some people always like to confuse what I say sometimes. I'm not saying that other creators should just start stealing what you're doing and just being you. Like, you still need to be original, creative, be yourself, bring your own flavor to everything. But there are still elements. Like, I've always fancied myself because, I took photography in high school. I took graphic design classes. I've taken acting classes. I've taken a lot of these things, and the skills that I have in that, I've been able to contribute to some of what I do. And, I don't have all of the nicest things right now, but I'm getting like better equipment. Like 2 years ago when we started this podcast, we just had it on a phone on TikTok, and look what we're doing now 2 years later. We're on YouTube, I'm on a 4K camera, and, I got like a boom mic right here in front of me. Like, everything is upgraded as things go on. And if I'm making my cosplay videos and I'm like, man, I love the way my cosplay videos look. I like the quality. I like this. And then I see somebody slide through and I see like the super 4K quality with the killer transitions that I hadn't even dreamed of thinking about doing before. I'm like, I need to be there. I need to learn how to do that. I need to make my stuff look that good. I need to make my stuff transition that good. And, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, to your point, and I've seen a lot of your videos, all of them look on point to me. I know that like with some people, they'll put that pressure on themselves, like they gotta have everything perfect right away from the start. And I'm like, shit,
I
if
used
you
to be
look at
that
like
person.
my first 30 cosplays was all like in my house along the wall. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I'll put the timer on my phone, put the timer on there, boom, burst blast. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm a testament to starting from the bottom and then coming up, because it took me years before I started doing professional like photography shoots. You know what I'm saying? Just because I was like, all right, well, it costs $200 to do that. All right, I ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? But after a while, you know, that's when I finally started getting accustomed to doing it. But it's, you know, a lot of people were pressuring themselves. It's like, hey, it's nothing wrong with getting one thing, then getting something else, then getting a tripod later, then getting a computer program where you could edit. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with taking your time with this stuff.
And just you can slowly learn editing programs. Like, you know, my editing now is way better than it was 3 years ago or even a year ago. You know, that's
Mhm.
just what it is. And Jasirii already knows this, and some people know this. I've been doing videos on YouTube since like 2008. You know,
Oh
like
shit,
when I was a baby. You know, and
man,
it's like, you know,
2008.
back when all we had was a grainy ass webcam that you just sat in front of, and you didn't know what content really was because YouTube was new. You know, so
Mhm.
you were just kind of figuring it out as you went. And even then, like I always knew what I wanted to do, but I know I didn't
Mhm.
always have the resources to get towards what I wanted to do. And
Mhm.
people see that in my content now. Like I've gone from cosplays, now my cosplays are starting to look better. You know, I've had certain phones and certain cameras now. My cameras are starting to get better. I've gone from simple cosplay transitions to now more of my stuff starting to get a little more cinematic as things go more and more. And this is always stuff I've always wanted know how to do, but I didn't always have the resources. Like I got this stuff now, so it's like, you know, my final form isn't here yet, guys. Like y'all are not ready. When I hit my final form, I'm just saying, look out.
Hey, I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for
Mm-hmm.
all of us because I feel like none of us have hit our final forms yet. Like we
Nah,
all have
nah,
room to improve. By
nah.
the way,
And that's
Taurus Moore in the chat says, shout out to Venture Cosplay. My brother, I'm a fan, bro. Keep doing your thing.
hey man, appreciate it. Appreciate it. You know.
Ain't
But
nothing.
I was, you know, like you were saying, man, like we all can improve. You know, if you look at like the past, like I want to say 3 years, man, I stepped out of my comfort zone with several cosplays. So starting with like Hobie, Spider Punk, I ain't never worn chokers and spikes and all that before. I ain't never do nothing like that, you know. But I stepped out of my comfort zone to do that cosplay, and that one went crazy viral. Then the year after, 2024, I did Prince Peach. I ain't
I
never
saw
wore
that.
pink before in my life. You know what I'm saying? Never wore
Yes.
pink before. Then I had the whole Bridgerton get up, you know, the Renaissance look. So, you know, when you step out of your comfort zone and step it up, man, magic can happen. You know, we all got that room to like step it up. You know, it's just a matter of let me get out of my comfort zone, let me use my creativity and come up with something new. You know, so mhm.
And before we get to the showcase, the last thing I'll just say on that is don't be afraid to fail, guys.
That's a fact.
Like
Cause
honestly, for every cosplay or video that y'all have seen me put online that I absolutely love, there are some that I've put up there that I'm just like, why did I like this again?
Hey, hey, no, you ain't lying. Hey, I told people before, man, on certain panels I was on, like I've done
ooh,
120 cosplays,
Mhm.
but only about 50 have gone viral. So I know when people think they'll be like, "Oh man, you got like 50 viral cosplays," but 50 out of 120, that ratio it's some misses in there. You know what I'm saying?
You
It's
start
some
to learn which
misfires in there,
ones do better than others, or
right? You
even
know what I'm
just your
saying?
personal opinion. Like, and I'm not gonna say which one it is. People can go on my account and they can probably figure it out on their own. Like, I usually cycle through all of my cosplays. Obviously, there are some I will cycle through a lot more than others because I'm not dumb. I know how to play the game. It's like I know if people want
Mhm.
to see this, I'm gonna do this. And I'm getting more and more new ones. But then people will notice that there was one cosplay I did that I've only done one time and they've never seen it on my page again.
Oh, okay. What's
You
that?
know,
You're not gonna
and
say it?
there's a reason for that, because like after I posted it, I mean, and it went viral, you know, but it also landed, you know, with mostly the racists, because you know how the racists are.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I get that with like even the ones I love too, but it was just this one. After I posted them, I looked back like some days later. I'm like, I'm gonna need to upgrade this cosplay before I ever put this on again. Like I don't like the way this looks.
Like I said, man, the racists they gonna be there, man. I have yet to do a cosplay where I haven't been called nigger. You know what I'm saying? Even the black cosplays I've done, they've called me nigger, and it's like I can't even cosplay a black person. Shit.
Well, here's the thing: like I don't get that with the black cosplays, because you know I'm starting to become known more and more for all of the various versions of Michael Jackson that I do, and usually when I do like the Michael Jackson or mostly just Michael Jackson, there's not too many other cosplays I do from people that are black in their thing. They'll just go, finally an accurate one. It's like y'all just want to troll.
They just they always got something to say.
But guess what? Y'all are boosting my content, and I don't know if y'all realize this, but especially last year, Instagram was paying me based off of my engagement. So thank you for the money.
Hey, they'll think about that part, you know.
Nah, they would do it less and less if they did that. But like I said, guys, we do have Venture Bros Cosplay on here. We're not gonna have the King Cosplayer on our podcast and not showcase his cosplays. Now, I know you're on your phone, so you're probably not going to be able to see what everybody else is seeing on the screen. So I'll just let you know what's up here.
All right.
So for everybody that comes here, they know what time it is. It is time for our cosplay showcase, aka he's got that shit on. And we are going to start, because I always go and I find 4 cosplays. And when you're a great cosplayer, it's hard to pick out 4 of them that I want to showcase on the screen. But when I saw the Omni-Man, I'm like, yeah, no, that one has to be showcased.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Tell me about your Omni-Man cosplay.
All right, so I watched Invincible, and my friend Fox Tiller, she's a New York cosplayer. She had hit me up as soon as it dropped on Amazon Prime and was like, hey, you need to cosplay this character named Omni-Man. Because at the time I had did Escanor, I did Super Mario, I did Killer Bee. So I had done a lot of mustache characters, right?
Especially
so
Mario.
She was like, yeah. So she was like, you need to do this character named Omni-Man. So I watched it, you know, first episode. As soon as I saw him kill the whole Guardians of the Galaxy, man, I was like, oh man, I'm cosplaying this dude. So like I immediately, you know, ordered a mustache. I cut it to fit my face, you know what I'm saying? And I did a casual Omni-Man. That shit went viral, man. Cutie Pie Sensei shared it. They had like 10,000 likes. My post had like 10,000 likes. So I went ahead and ordered the suit. Got the suit in the mail, you know, took the pictures with the suit. Like I told you at the time, I was just taking the pictures in my house. So I took the pictures, man. That went viral, you know what I'm saying? 10,000 likes in a day. The company, Heroes Time, that made the suit, they posted on their site that had like 20,000 likes. So it was just going crazy. So then Jamal S03E16 hit me up and was like, hey, man, we need to do an Invincible group. So I was like, all right. So we got Shauna Lawson. She had went ahead. She was gonna do Debbie. Then my boy John, he said he wanted to do one of the Marley twins. Six said he'd do the Marley twins. And we got our boy Kenneth. He's another New York photographer. He had came through to take the pictures. This was BlurCon 2021. And we did it right outside of BlurCon. You know, we took all the pictures and stuff. And my boy Keith was Invincible. So yeah, man, we went ahead, shot all day. It was brutal because that BlurCon heat, especially back in July, man, that heat was killing us, man. But went ahead, you know, cranked out those Omni-Man pictures, me choking them up, me you know, doing the think Mark think, you know what I'm saying?
I've seen that one.
So yeah, man. So it was just great, man. And that Omni-Man when after we post those like professional pics, it had got a lot of traction. Skybound Comics, them and Image are the ones who publish, you know, Invincible. And then Mark Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead and creator of Invincible, he shared our cosplay pictures too. So like, man, that Omni-Man was just going crazy, and it literally has been going crazy ever since. So like, I still need to do his other versions, but you know, I was gonna wait to catch up for the show to kind of catch up. You know, because a lot of people have been asking me to do Thrag, but I was like, I love Omni-Man now, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'll let somebody else take Thrag, you know.
I mean,
why not just green screen?
Why do you got to choose between this one and that one when I know that I can have both?
see, it's dangerous because you know I love doing mustache characters. So you got Thrag, then you got Conquest. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's several Viltrumites I want to do. Then I want to do Battle Beast. So it's like, yo, it's hard with Invincible because there's so many cold characters. Because I'm like, man, I want to do this guy. I want to do this guy, you know? So it's like sometimes I got to reel it back because I'll fuck around and end up doing each of them. So like I know myself, it's like I gotta chill before I start like spending money for these items and start building, you know. That's gonna mess up my other cost plans, you know, shit.
No, I definitely get it, but like I said, I know that Omni-Man, I think, was one of the first ones that I'd seen from you personally myself. So that's why I said it was definitely one that I had to feature here on the podcast because it's too good, guys. Like, I don't know if y'all have never seen his cosplay. That's why I have this one up here. You see that, especially like you said, he does a lot of mustache characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I remember like the first time I ever seen him without a mustache. I was like,
yo, you know how many people do not recognize me? But as soon as I put a mustache on, boom, like everybody's like, oh, Venture Bros, I didn't know you was here. I'm like, I talked to you yesterday. Well, yo, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. Either two things that usually people recognize me is they see the cowboy hat or if they see a mustache, they recognize me immediately. But without those, they kind of be looking for a second, like, who is dude? Why he over here? Like, you know. So it's funny though, man. It's actually hilarious.
Hey man, that's like your mustache is your freaking Clark Kent glasses, your Hannah Montana wig. Like, you know, it's like, look, just that little thing. Like, oh, you don't recognize me? Who am I now?
right.
Word. I hope you got your Superman references ready.
hey, you right about that, shoot. Because look, and it's funny too because like it'll be people I've done collabs with, known for years, man. Because especially when I started doing old man characters, because it was like that was my original two lanes. My first lane was mustache characters. Like I said, it was Killer Bee, Escanor, Mario, Omni-Man. So it was like mustache characters. Then when I started doing old man characters, like, you know, Uncle Iroh, Granddad, Gran Torino, started doing all these old man characters. That's when they definitely couldn't recognize me. So when I shaved, and you know, I had lost weight and started doing pretty boy characters like Gojo and Gato and all of them. Nobody, they was like, who is dude? Like his cosplay cold, but have we met before? And I'm like, it's Venture Bros. Venture Bros. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, are you the other Venture brother? So yeah, man, it's crazy.
Got recast. That's what happened. It's not the same person.
You know, true.
Nah, facts. And shout out to your fitness journey too. I did peep that.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Yeah, when I started cosplaying, I was 305 pounds. So now I'm at 220. So, you know, I have lost like over 80 pounds, man. It was crazy. So, and you know, a lot of people hit me up, you know, it took years. You know, I told people, I was like, it was not a quick thing. I was like, it took years, but, you know, now that I'm like, I try to hover between that 200 and 220 range, you know, just hovering between there. I don't want to get super skinny or nothing. And I don't want to get big again at all. So yeah, it's like hovering between that 200 and 220 range.
Yeah, the weight isn't always everything though. Like I don't think I weigh too much. I need to get rid of the stomach. I got the old man gut these days, and it's got to go. And I'm trying my best. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Hey, it's crazy though, man. Because sometimes I put my like comparison pics. And there'll be girls in the comments like, boo, I liked you before. I liked you with the dad bod. So, hey, man, it's a market for everything. You know what I'm saying? Shoot.
Now, look, I get a lot of comments on my cosplays and stuff like that. But I finally got one where somebody called me pot belly something. I was like, yep, stop this thing. So,
see, I got a daughter, right? My daughter, she's 16. So my daughter, she had called me. And bless her heart, man. My daughter got a smart ass mouth. So one day she was just like, "Daddy, you're fat." And I was like, "Thank you, Taya." Her name's Taya. I was like, "Thank you, Taya, for, you know, calling me fat. That really makes Daddy happy." And then she was like, "Don't worry, Daddy. I still love you. You know, I still love you despite you, you know, being fat." I was like, "Okay." Like, what? Why are you coming for me? Like,
What
so
did you
that's
get?
when I was like, all right, let me take this health journey serious. Let me go ahead and buckle down. So that was really the driving force.
Well, you know, one thing is always staying in the gym. It's always doing right, but it's also eating right. And speaking of eating right, I already saw what my man went and did. And we have this thing that we do on this podcast, and we haven't had a chance to do it in a while because he's been out in the streets outside for a lot of our podcasts. So it is time, everybody, for what is Jasirii eating?
Oh, we got sandwich.
So, well, you know, with me, I have been dirty bulking for the past 2 months. Besides being outside and eating that outside food, like, do you feel me on that? So, what we have today is lean ground beef with gluten-free bread and and I forgot the name of the cheese, but it's the one with the cow on it that has 15 grams of protein. Not 1, not 5, but 15 grams of protein. So as you can see, I have a protein burger to help bulk up this muscle that my fat ass has been not working on. But I have been playing basketball and it has been helping out, especially late night bulking. And that's today with What is Jasirii Eating? Hopefully we get a sponsorship soon.
Yes, that is our goal. What is Jasirii Eating to be sponsored by insert food company here? We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen.
That's gonna be a thing, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But from one thing to another thing, because we got to go ahead and get going with these cosplays again from Omni-Man. That, you know what? Let's go ahead and slide over to a little anime because, you know, I asked him, what are your favorite animes? And he gave me a list. And one of the ones he gave me was Soul Eater. So I'm like, you know what? I believe he did a cosplay from Soul Eater. So I have that up on the screen right now. So Venture Bros, I love About Frankenstein.
That one I got down to 205. You know what I'm saying? When I did Professor Stein, man. I had cut a lot. So I was like, all right, let me start doing pretty boy characters. So I shaved up, man. I got so little. I was like, all right. I was like, who I want to try first? And I was like, you know what? I haven't seen anybody do Dr. Stein yet. So I was like, all right. I was like, I don't know if people still watching Soul Eater, but it's one of my goats. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do it. And man, that Stein went crazy, man. That, you know, I have voice actors from like total different shows, like sharing that on Twitter, man. Crunchyroll, they shared it on their TikTok, shared it on IG. Man, that one was going crazy, bro. Like that Dr. Stein. And then, you know, then I saw, and this is what I love the most. I saw a lot of people doing Dr. Stein cosplays after that. So I really like that because it was like, all right, either I brought people awareness to the character or I made people want to do that character because they saw me do it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they all put their own little spin to it, you know what I'm saying? And it just looked great. And that was the first time I feel like I made a white lock wig. So, yeah.
Okay, so you definitely, like I said, it's creativity is all over the place. I personally have not seen a whole lot of Dr. Stein cosplays, so you know you're one of the few that I know that I've personally seen. I haven't really, when I go to cons, I don't really see a lot of Soul Eater cosplays. Period.
Yeah, Soul Eater, you know, it's kind of one of those animes that like is slowly Fire Force kind of is bringing it back because people are seeing the connection. Yeah, people are seeing the connection with it. But until Fire Force started hitting their hard, I think Soul Eater was just like kind of forgotten about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which is why I also, and it seems to always I find a way to shoehorn her into most of these podcast episodes. So I'm going to say shout out to our little sis, Marissa Manny Moon, who also did a signed cosplay, as well as Krona. And
yeah.
She's just too good, man. She's too good.
I think she did Medusa too. She did Medusa.
I believe so.
Yeah. So she was killing them soul eaters because she did like 4. I was like, damn. I was like, all right, let me step it up a little bit.
You see what I mean? Like you see some of this. Oh man, that is good. Man, it's too good, man. I need to.
Right, you know, when I see some good shit, I'm like, damn, let me get back in the lab. You know what I'm saying? Let me get my Tony Stark building on, because
listen, you got to. Also, you know, clothing brand wise, shouts to Kiki. Sure.
Shout out to Kiki.
On right now. What are you talking about?
Right there.
On right now.
Def the Kid pants, courtesy of Kiki's attire. He's only got a limited stock left of those pants. When they're gone forever. Go to her site right now. Not now, but right now.
Big cake, not the little.
Those are dope. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely Big K, not the little one. But you know what? The thing I also like about Venture Bros is that he cosplays from absolutely everything. And I think that's what I like about you the most, because it's like you just never know where a cosplay is. Like,
because I'm into everything, man. Like, so, like, I'd love to say I'm just into anime, but that'd be a lie, man. Like, I'm into Marvel, I'm into DC comics, I'm into anime, I'm into fantasy, I'm into sci-fi. I'm not even one of the people who, like, I love Star Trek, but I love Star Wars too. So it's like I don't even, like, I didn't know people didn't fuck with each other from Star Trek and Star Wars till I was an adult. And I was like, wait, y'all don't get along? Like, shit, I fuck with both of them. You know what I'm saying?
Go to Dragon Con, you'll figure that out. But
Star Wars side.
But the reason I say that is because I have up on the screen right now, you also cosplay from, depending on how old you are, you remember that cartoon growing up, and that would be from Doug. And,
Roger.
Roger Clyde.
And it was
not
crazy.
This one, because I had to showcase this.
Yo, that Roger went crazy. But you know what, man? I was really debating on whether I should cut the sides of my hair when I did it. So I was holding off because I was like, all right, I'm going to cut the sides. I was like, let me just hold off. And then one day I was like in the bathroom and I just woke up from like a nap or something. And like I seen my hair like did the whole Tupac joint where like did the halfway, fade. And I was like, wait. I was like, that's what Roger's joint does. So I was like, all right. So I took the, the orange, hairspray joint, sprayed it. The orange came out good. So I had the face paint, the green, you know what I'm saying? I did like 2 coats of that. That looked good. I had the leather jacket already. I was like, I could bang this out right now. And like I said, old trusty, just go in my living room, you know what I'm saying? Set up my tripod. I took some Roger pictures and I was like, all right, I'm gonna throw it out in the world. Let's see how it does. Threw it out there because I didn't even know people was gonna fuck with Doug anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I'll throw it out there. I think the only person I saw doing a Doug cosplay at the time was my boy Swaggy. Swaggy had done like Quail Man. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I ain't seen nobody do Roger. So that's one of the things I like to do characters nobody's done yet. So I ain't seen nobody do Roger. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, he was hilarious to me. So I used to love seeing his character. So I was like, all right, put it out there. And then that shit went dummy, man. Mad people sharing it. Nickelodeon had shared it. They was like, hey, this is a great cosplay. Can we share you for 28 days? I was like, hey, y'all share as much as y'all want, so. And it had a couple of articles written on it. And yeah, man, I was real fortunate that everybody, really fucked with it, man. Because like I said, nobody really talked about Doug anymore. So I didn't even know if people was gonna like really recognize it. But again, that was something I grew up with. So I was like, yo, I want to do this cosplay. So, that's pretty much how Roger came about.
First of all, I'm in my 30s, well in my 30s, so I definitely remember Doug. So that's number one. Number two, like the only cosplay that I've really ever seen, I've seen a couple of Skeeters, but I've never seen any Rogers.
Nah,
So that
no Rogers. I seen some patties here and there, but never no Rogers.
Heavy on.
Mhm.
so that's what I said. And being featured by Nickelodeon like that, that's the dream. Doing a cosplay and then getting like commented on and featured by the company, that it comes from.
Childhood.
Like, that's the dream. Like
Mhm.
that's every cosplayer's dream, and that's still what I'm shooting for. I can tell you that.
Yeah, man. Like, I was fortunate that Nickelodeon it went on their radar because I know a lot of people who cosplay from different comics or different shows, and when you get notified or when you get noticed by something involving that show, some
Yes.
entity, whether it's the studio or an
Voice
actor
act-
from it or a director, voice actor, it's a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Because as an artist, that's how I refer to a lot of cosplayers. This is our version of art. So one of the biggest things about artists, a lot of artists, when you look at like Van Gogh and stuff like that, they weren't going for the money. One of the biggest thing about artists is people seeing their art, people noticing their artwork, their creation. So when we get seen by these different companies or channels and things like that, that's a big deal because we know our art was good enough for them to notice, especially being a Black cosplayer, because no one tries to acknowledge us. So if they do, we know that we went above and beyond and passed up everybody else. We know we killed it.
You definitely did. And I know that, like I said, that's something that I've always strived for, which is why earlier this year, and even every time I have something good happen to me, I think one thing that I know that'll always be good about myself is I still can never believe it. I'm still not at a spot where I expect these things to happen.
Right.
And I kind of like that because I don't ever want to become that person that
Right.
these things to happen.
Right.
But
Because like I was telling my boy Tree Rex, and we'll get to your cosplays in a second because there was one cosplay you did I noticed that was really good. But my boy Tree Rex, man, he creates like the giant alien exhibits at C2E2. And he had a podcast, this is back like 2022, and he had asked me, he was like, how does it feel when you know that your cosplay is about to go viral? And I was like, bro, I don't never know where that shit about to go viral. I never know. It was the only one I think I knew that was gonna go viral. Two I knew. I knew that when I did Uncle Iroh, it was gonna go viral, and Gojo, I knew it was gonna go viral. But all the other ones that went viral, I had no clue. It happened. I was happy it happened. You know what I'm saying? I was fortunate enough, but I never knew or thought in my head like, man, this shit's about to go crazy. I, it happens. Because like I said, when we cosplay, I've cosplayed tons of times and it didn't go viral. So I don't just automatically expect it because there's times where I thought something was gonna do good and it didn't.
yeah,
So it's like, hey, if it goes viral, I'm grateful. If it doesn't, then hey. But the only two I knew was, like I said, Gojo and Uncle Iroh. Your Shield Hero. When I seen your Malfumi, that was good, man. That was actually legit. Even the wig, you know what I'm saying, was on point. You know what I'm saying? So I really liked your Shield Hero.
yeah. Shout out to my friend Lauren who made the wig for me. She's now my wig person. Like I said, a couple of years ago, it was usually a crapshoot on how my wigs were gonna look. Some look great, some look not so great. Some were decent, but now I have somebody that makes my wigs. And Lauren is amazing. She made my Naofumi wig, she made my Boruto wig, she made my Luffy wig, and it did nothing but completely upgrade those cosplays. So, definitely shout out to her. And like I said, and when I finally did the Naofumi comment, especially the reveal one, it did pretty well, especially for Shield Hero not to be like one of the top animes out there or whatever. So it did about what I expected to do. On Instagram, it's over 100,000 views, which, it's like for Shield Hero, that's actually not bad at all. But I get
especially after season one, season one was where the most hyped and the voice actor died. So it was like, it's not really at its like height anymore. So for it to do 100,000 views, that's still really good.
And then, like I said, you always can tell, like, especially if it's from a popular one or if it's a popular character, which is why it did not surprise me when you say you knew your Gojo was going to do good, because most people's Gojos usually do pretty well.
Yeah.
You
And I
know,
had did Gojo back when like episode 1 dropped. Because I used to read the manga for JJK. So when the first episode dropped, I had dropped my Gojo like that same weekend. So I knew that Gojo was that was setting the stars. I knew it was gonna hit hard because nobody had done it really yet. So
yeah, Gojo was actually he wasn't my first viral cosplay, but he was my first cosplay that really went to a completely different stratosphere. Like, you know, I've had cosplays that did like 2 million, 3 million, you know, even a couple that did like 5 million. But the first time I really did that Gojo reveal, that one went over 15 on Instagram. And
15 million, sheesh.
like, that was one of the first times that I truly started getting recognized for some other top cosplayers in our community. You know, before then they saw that, and all of a sudden I'm getting notifications. I'm being followed by wait, they're following me now, and it's like, man, I guess I'm finally here now. Ghost Channel says, "How's everyone doing this Juneteenth? Look, we're here. We made it. We're free." That's absolutely the most important part right there. But yes, like me, I usually know anytime I do like my Boruto cosplay or my Naruto cosplay, they usually do pretty well because it's from popular franchises.
Right.
My Meliodas usually does pretty well. You know, pop from people who love it and from the racists, which I don't care. I'll take you both on.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But that's how it was. But then there was some I did for years. Like I was going back to you being recognized by Nickelodeon. You know, anyone that knows me knows that I am a Disney fanatic. I grew up a Disney head. You know, my TV used to just in the background just stayed on the Disney Channel all day. Like that was just what it did. You know, and I was a big fan, like I said, as a kid. You know, I grew up in the era of the Disney afternoons, or Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, you know, Gargoyles, all that stuff. That was me. Disney animated movies. I will debate people all day, every day on those to this day. Although, ironically, even though I love Disney more than any other like channel franchise or whatever, I actually like Bugs Bunny more than Mickey Mouse. So it's weird. When it comes to the actual mouse himself, I'm sorry, I actually prefer the rabbit. You know,
hey, he had more personality than the rabbit. I mean, no, the rabbit had more personality than the mouse.
Yeah, the mouse just kind of danced around while the hounds is also danced around, and the lamp also danced around, and the table also danced around. It's like, this is cute. That rabbit's he's got attitude. I'm sorry. So I've always I was one of those people that was like, man, if I could ever just get on like the Disney Channel one day or something like that, because you know I used to take acting classes and stuff too.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I also do a Powerline cosplay, and I've done one for a couple of years. And it was one thing to do the cosplays; they did pretty well, whatever. But then last year, it was even actually a repost. Earlier this year, it was a repost from what I did last year that did very well, and it wasn't just a cosplay. I pretty much did like a full animated like recreation of Max doing the Powerline performance at the beginning of the movie, you know, with green screens and all of this stuff. It was one of like the biggest projects that I'd actually done. So when a Goofy movie had its 30th anniversary earlier this year, I reposted it because I was like, perfect time to repost what I think is my best Powerline video I ever did. When I got DM'd by Disney, I will admit I cried.
Hey, I'm happy you got that moment, brother.
That's a fact.
And they were like, we want to do this 30th anniversary Goofy movie post, and we want to include your video. So yeah, I now have a video on Disney's Instagram page. Like, that's insane.
Hey, that's beautiful right there. You know what I'm saying? You made that happen.
And I say that's what we do it for. Like, definitely with that recognition means everything. People think it's like, was it always validation? I mean, yes, it is validation. It's validation that you know what you're doing is paying off. That hard work is paying off. I don't know why some people think seeking validation is a bad thing all the time. It's like, it can be, but it's not really.
Like it's people don't understand, like, that was tied into not only your childhood, but that moment of happiness. All that ties together. You know what I'm saying? They won't think outside the box to understand why that was so important to you. You know, they're just thinking it from that validation standpoint, but it's so much deeper than that. You know.
And they always, and you know, that's why I love the people that want to see you shine. It was a little heartbreaking when I was looking at the comments on when Disney posted it, and there were so many people who loved it, and but then you had the people sliding in, so I guess they were mad that their favorite people weren't featured in the post. So then that's when I start hating, where it's like, why isn't this person here instead? It's like, you know, it's like, why are we trying to put Black people against each other?
Exactly.
Like, I will never, I don't care if someone's trying to compliment me. I'm not going to allow anyone to try to bash someone else while complimenting me. Like, I'm not going to stand for that. Like, if you say you love my cosplay, fine. If you want to say you don't like my cosplay, that's fine. You have the right to say that too. But don't come to my page going, your cosplay looks better than when such and such does it. And I'm like, don't do that.
Right. Because it's no need, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to bash someone to uplift someone. And it's like, look, this year for the 30th anniversary, Disney didn't decide to go with that person. It is what it is. That doesn't mean that person's stuff wasn't good. It's just this year Disney didn't decide to go with them. You know, so don't rain on your parade, you know.
Somebody on my TikTok on one of my Meliodas cosplays, they was like, that's not a Meliodas cosplay, and then tagged another creator, was like, this is a real Meliodas cosplay. And I was like, why are we doing that?
Right. You literally tagged the creator for what? Well, even if they did come and say something, what the fuck does that mean?
With them, I don't know.
Yeah, like.
But most of the time, they just come through and say the same thing. Guys, don't do that.
yeah, exactly. It's like, yo, you don't gotta bash nobody else. Like, like, look, let that person have a moment. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to be kind. And it's nothing to just shut the fuck up and scroll past. So like, it's like, come on, man, just scroll. You don't gotta even say nothing.
And speaking of moments, we are still having your moment right now because your cosplay showcase is not done. Because you see how I did that? I talk about Disney so we could transition into Disney. Because you also cosplayed Oscar Proud.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, that was man. It was funny because I always loved Proud Family, and I don't know, for some reason it had came on, like the theme song, it came on somewhere, and then that's when I saw that they were about to come out with the new show in a few months. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I could do Oscar Proud real quick. I got the fade going, you know what I'm saying? I don't got no facial hair really. I could do Oscar Proud real quick. Oh shit. And I work in corporate America, so I got the outfit. So I was like, shit, let me go ahead and knock this out real quick. And I did that, man. And of course, you know, it did really well. You know, Disney Channel featured it, and it was just, you know, now I think, that was the first time Disney featured something of mine. So that was a big moment in itself, you know, that Disney fucked with it. Then the director of the new Proud Family, she took it and then she shared it on her Twitter. And then that's when, you know, like Tommy Davidson said something. And like it just went really fucking viral, man, like on multiple platforms. So it was like, damn. So I didn't really expect it because it was like a really chill cosplay. It wasn't much I put into it, but you know, execution, I feel like is still everything. You know, you can have a cosplay that's super basic, but if that execution kills it, that cosplay might kill it. And so it was one of those situations, man. And like everybody, you know, that was like a nostalgia moment, man, because everybody fucked with Proud Family once upon a time in their life.
Yeah.
So when they saw that, you know, they was just going crazy, and I loved it. Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with
the
it
description.
Too.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do. Like it's very accurate, and that's not just because of your skin. Like it looks very accurate.
Yeah, man. That was around the time I was probably about 210, 205, something like that. And yeah, man, like I said, I had the fade, I had everything lined up. So it was like, all right, you know, let's go ahead and crank this out.
For you, I see.
What'd you say?
That the fade been coming in clutch for you.
Yo, a lot of the cosplays that went crazy, that fade fit in. Because the fade, if you're doing like cosplays that aren't black, you know, some of them have that type of like swoop hair back and stuff. So if you got a fade, it's literally almost the same look. And, you know, like I said, Oscar Proud had the fade. Roger, I just had to press my fade down. So with the fade, I was flexible. You know what I'm saying? Once I got the twist, that's when things got a little muddled now. So I'm like, damn, because I gotta take my twist out to do Garp from One Piece. So I'm supposed to do Garp. I'm like, damn, I gotta take the twist out then, you know. So
when are you doing Garp?
But yeah, the fade, huh?
When are you doing Garp?
At Cosplay World, mid-July. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to have a big One Piece group.
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Man.
I will say this, because with both, and even some others that I didn't showcase here today, but like I just focus on the ones that we did. With like Oscar Proud and like with Roger Klotz, it's like you got to understand. Not only do you never see anyone do these, but you're literally unlocking core memories from people when they see these cosplays. Because not only are they seeing a good cosplay, they go, "Oh, I remember that."
Yeah.
And I think that really does add to the fun. That's why. Really, cosplays like that, I expect to do pretty well, because if it's something that was popular from back in the day, and it can unlock that memory for people and just take them back to a time when things were just great, those are always gonna hit.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, see, these were done, I did those back in like 2020, 2021. So that was the first time I really lost weight in doing cosplay. So I didn't know if they were going to hit or not, because I still didn't know how people were going to receive like my size. Right. So, you know, I didn't know that they were going to hit. But I mean, you make a valid point, because when I did Granddad from Boondocks, that went crazy, and that was literally what you said. It just unlocked that core memory of Boondocks for everybody, you know.
And we're going to get to Boondocks a little bit later, so trust me on that, because we do still have a docket here. But I will say this. Like I said, we all know what today is. Today is Juneteenth, but that is definitely today. We also do this segment on here that we like to call the Week That Was, which is just where we kind of briefly go over some things that's happened in the past week. Is there anything, Venture, that's happened in the past week that you want to share, or any news that you've seen that you kind of want to talk about?
In the past week, let me think. So something big for me. I don't know if this affects everybody, probably doesn't, but the whole Israel, you know, attacking Iran. So with my company, we hire a lot of nurses and physicians that get sent all over the world. So we had to evacuate all of our people out of the embassy that work there, as far as the medical staff. And yeah, man. So like that happened this past week. It's been crazy, you know. It's been like nonstop, you know, getting people evacuated, finding new places for them to work that's close. And yeah, so it's been a crazy week, you know, as far as from that standpoint. Other than that, that's really, you know, the craziest thing in my world.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a crazy week. And if we really wanted to talk about a week that was, that would really be at the top of the list. But we try not to get really political on here. We're an escape for everybody.
Right.
Man. But that doesn't mean that even we can ignore what's going on out there, you know, right now. So all I can say for everybody is to be safe. Same thing over here. Like, all I've really been doing is working. You know, like I said, today is a holiday. The only other thing is, you know, I'm a gamer as well, and the Switch 2 obviously came out a few weeks ago. It's been out for a little bit now, and they just recently did a full showcase for the Donkey Kong game that's coming out. So they probably want to get depth with it, and I watched that showcase, and I was just like, it looks good. Like, it looks really good. It looks like it's gonna play really good. I think one of my biggest weird takeaways though is I don't know if this is Donkey Kong though.
Yeah, because I saw the picture circling and I was like, I mean, it's saying Donkey Kong on it, but I didn't recognize the character. I was like, is that Donkey Kong? Or I was like, when did he eat a special mushroom? Why is he that color? So yeah,
not even just look, because you know, redesigns can happen. You know, it's like he looks different, and then it's like, okay, people will get over how different he looks if we get into this gameplay and we start seeing, okay, this is classic Donkey Kong.
Right.
You know, from what I understand, it doesn't look like K. Rool is in the game as a villain. It looks like he's not going to be there.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't think so.
People were ready to hopefully maybe see if maybe Diddy Kong was going to be a playable character. It doesn't look like he's going to be.
Yeah.
Finally announced that some like human singing little girl is going to be his companion. And, you know, so it was like, yeah, this is different. Then to see them not going around like K. Rool Island or even in the jungle, really. The only time they look like they even do classic Donkey Kong stuff is like they got challenges. and they'll kind of pull from some old Donkey Kong stuff, but from everything else, they could have literally grabbed another gorilla, named him something else, and it would have been completely fine. But because they called this game Donkey Kong, people are going to look at those comparisons and be like, well, that ain't Donkey Kong. This ain't Donkey Kong. This ain't Donkey Kong. But again, the game looks really good. It looks like it plays really well. I'm going to get a Switch 2 eventually, and it might be a game I pick up because I am still a Donkey Kong fan at the end of the day.
Because did it show Donkey Kong City like in Odyssey?
Like, they showed the map again. Like, this entire game looks like, I think it takes place underground, and there's like a lot of different cities and things underground. He can literally break through everything. He's got like 1,000 different moves he can do. You know, his companion's a singer, so she's got like singing powers. So I'm like, Donkey Kong's literally running around in adventure with a little human girl. I was like, yeah, that was not on my bingo card.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna definitely check out the gameplay when people start playing it before I get it. But I still gotta get the Switch 2 as well. So,
well, there's really no rush because really right now the only new game they really have is Mario Kart World, which is insane. That there, even though I heard that there's like the fastest selling game system already, like ever, but there are no games.
See that.
For the limited amount that
there
they put
are no launch title games. All they have is Mario Kart World, the demo game that teaches you how to use the system, which you have to pay for. I don't know why you're paying for something that's going to teach you how to use whatever. And
they already jacked up the prices for it, so it's kind of crazy to do that.
Literally strategy marketing. They just pulled the iPhone. They pulled the Apple. That's what they did. They were like, yeah, we're going to put graphics on this. And you know what? We're going to make them buy the game. And you know what? If they illegally put a game on there, it shuts down. It shuts down. That's it. We won. We won. We blow up their system. What? Internally blow up their system.
And then don't you still got to pay for that Nintendo.com membership?
Yes, I believe so.
See, I swear, they
pulled the iPhone.
You don't own your games. You just rent them.
Yeah, like I love Nintendo, but Nintendo be stiffing everybody, man. That's
why I say it's like Xbox has Game Pass, yes, but at least on Game Pass, you still have the option to go to the game and purchase it if you want to keep it.
Right.
Nintendo's like, nah, bro.
Well, I want to play it at the same time. No sirroo, buckaroo.
Right. Better luck next time.
I will say this though, it does look like, at least with, I don't know about Mario Kart World because I think they don't want to allow this to be with Mario Kart World because that's like their big boy. But I know because another thing they also had at launch was Switch 2 upgrades for games that already exist. I know, like for Kirby, they not only upgraded the way it looks and everything, but they added a whole new like DLC with like extra missions and extra all of this stuff that's only exclusive to the Switch 2 version. But with some of the games, they said it with the Donkey Kong game, they said it, I know, with the Kirby re-release game, and I think with a few others, you can also have your Switch 2 and you can still play with somebody, and only one of you has to have the game. The other one doesn't even have to have it, and y'all can still co-op. I don't think Mario Kart World is doing that. They're like, nah, y'all need to buy your own copy.
Right. Nintendo not gonna do that. They'd see it as they're losing too much money to do something like that.
Well, this is the first time, which is new for Nintendo. The Switch 2 is the first time they've ever done an actual true sequel to one of their game systems. Any other time, it's always been something new. There was the NES, and then there was the Super NES, which was something completely different than what the NES was, top-down cartridge. Then they went into the N64, which was something completely different with the upgradable latch in there. And then, of course, they went from that to the GameCube, which had 2 discs. And then they had the Switch, which allowed you to have like the motion controls. And then they went to the Wii U, which had the second screen, which also didn't sell very well. They like to forget about the Wii U. And of course, they went to the Switch, which was also something completely different. But now they have a Switch 2 instead of something new. They're like, we're just going to do a sequel to our best-selling system. So this is the first time that they were like, we're not going to do anything different. We're just going to enhance the graphics on what we already have. And push it back out with a lot more money and a lot better looking. And unfortunately, they even said it, the $80 games, it's not just going to be a Mario Kart World thing. That's the direction that all video games are going to now. If you'll see like the list of a lot of AAA titles coming out, a few of them are going to be $80.
Yeah, same $80 drift stick.
Sheesh.
That's the thing too. I think they're already having like problems with some of their controllers.
Yep, I heard
already.
from two great sources, great reliable sources. Because they only made a limited amount.
And then I hear them talk about, well, we sold so many, but some people can literally just walk into their stores and find one. I'm like, oh, what state do they live in? Because
I was about to say, I have not seen one physical copy since the drop. And I go to Target like almost every other day.
I think they were trying to say within like the first 3 days of it coming out, you could actually even still find some in a store. Like not so much now because they're waiting so much for the second. I'm just waiting for them to put it on Amazon because they even said that like they still don't have an Amazon store yet for the Switch 2. Like they
probably
do.
Not going to.
I mean, it's still another way to buy your product, and I have plenty. Like if they put it on Amazon, I could buy it right now. Like literally, I have Amazon gift card funds out the ass right now, and I'm just waiting on something that I could. I'm probably just going to use it to continue upgrading my my content. To be honest with you, because I've almost got enough money where I can actually get me the camera I've always wanted. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my phones. My phones have amazing cameras and all of that stuff, but I also still want an actual camera to do some content with as well. And I think I've just about raised enough money for it on Amazon. So that is definitely something that I want to get into.
Nothing wrong with that, upgrading.
Facts.
Yes, got to keep doing better. We just got to keep continuing to do better out here. And 100%. This is the part where we have already showed a bunch of your cosplays, because we like to glaze our guests on here on the show. But when we get done glazing our guests, we allow the guests the opportunity to do a self-glaze. So we get into the who is portion of the podcast. So I'm going to give the floor to you now and to let anybody know that may, for some reason, been living under a rock and have never heard of you before. Who is Venture Bros? The floor is yours, sir.
Hey, I'm just a cosplayer out of Chicago, just like everybody else, man. Started cosplaying, learned to love it, and ever since then, man, I just been riding with the flow. My best things in cosplay, or the most fun for me, is always cosplaying in groups. Because the enjoyment of my friends to do it with me. When I first started cosplaying in 2017. I went to Anime Expo. It was me, Tatted Poodle Cosplay, Hey Jayish. This is before any of us had followed. Hey Jayish, she's the director of DreamCon now, and our friend Nick. And all 3 days of Anime Expo, we did a different group from the big three. So the first day we did Naruto, Saturday we did Bleach, and Sunday we did One Piece. So for me, that was like the best time because I was cosplaying with my friends. Like, we were just, all new to it. Anime Expo is so cosplay heavy and so many people, man. It was like being in a total different world. You know what I'm saying? And that was just an amazing experience. So for me, cosplay is a way to bring people together, and that's my favorite part. Now, of course, my second favorite part is expressing my creativity and artistry through cosplay. And that's how I come up with the different cosplays that I do. Like I said earlier, one thing I tried to do early was compete. I was competing in cosplay competitions. I had won 2 across stage. I won 3 competitions online. I won Cosplayer of the Year 2020, 2021, and 2022. Let's see what else. When I stopped cosplaying or doing the competitions was when I won the Cartoon Network Adult Swim cosplay competition. So that was the last one. I did Frylock from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And that was the last time I competed because I was just like, I mean, that's kind of the glass ceiling. What other competition could I do that would be better than winning the Cartoon Network cosplay competition? So yeah, for me, it's been a wild ride. This is year 8, and I've been fortunate to guest at major cons, like be a cosplay guest at DreamCon and MomoCon, Colossal Con. So I just, I've been fortunate to, be able to guest the after parties as a cosplay guest and stuff like that. And I've been in magazines, newspapers. I've been on the news. So cosplay has just opened up a world of doors that I never thought I would ever experience. So cosplay, anybody could do it. If I could do it, because like I said, I started off 6'2", 305 pounds. You know what I'm saying? If I could start cosplaying and do well, everybody has potential to do well cosplaying.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to let you gloss over winning all of those cosplay competitions. And I'm telling you, you are him, and always definitely remember that. And if I'm not to be mistaken, haven't you like a few times been like the only male cosplay guest?
Oh yeah. Plenty of times. Like for the longest, DreamCon this year finally had a male cosplay guest that wasn't me with my boy Never Ending Dreams. But before that, they've only had women guests. Yeah, so it's it's been a lot of at some of the sex cons like SumiCon and Waifu Expo, Waifu Fest, they didn't have any other guys there. Even though I'm not a sex worker, but they still wanted a male cosplayer there. And I guess, with me doing like Mario and some of the buff characters, a lot of ladies like that. So I was fortunate enough to get guest opportunities at some of those cons, and I was the only guy too.
I mean, look, there's
So.
nothing wrong with that. They're people too, just like the rest of us. In fact, I'm actually friends with some sex workers. I don't know why people always want to try to categorize them as something different. They're humans with jobs that they like to do just like us. In fact, I had one as a guest on this podcast before because she's been a friend of mine for years, and I'm actually proud of what she's been doing out there. And because she also does some cosplays from time to time and everything. It's like, look. So there's definitely nothing wrong with that. Look, I'm not buff, so I'll probably never get invited to one.
Hey,
But
you never
if
know,
anybody
man.
wants to invite me to a waifu con, you know what? I'm letting y'all know right now. Just let me know where and when I need to be there, and I will show up and I will walk around and I will represent my podcast and whatever else you need me to do there. Because as long as we're getting our names out there and building our audience, that is really all that matters. But yes.
Hey man, I feel like you could dance, man. You do the Michael Jackson cosplays, you do Powerline. Hey, you be able to draw some women attention with that dancing.
Well, I mean, I think my two co-hosts will probably be able to draw the attention a lot better than I am, the King of New York here. And of course, my nephew, who unfortunately is not with us tonight, but now they are the ones, they could probably walk up there and shut those places down. I'm usually the fly on the wall. Like they're the ones, when it comes to the dance floors and the parties and things, they're the ones I aspire to be.
I know Jasirii be getting down. I seen him getting down at Anime NYC and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Shoot.
Oh yeah, and he probably had his flag with him.
Always, never feel leave it at home.
Man, look, I'm always gonna go back to what is it now? Almost 3 years ago at this point at Anime NYC. Like that's always the anime nightclub video. That's always gonna be like that was a lot of people's introduction to Jasirii.
Oh, okay.
Yo, shout out to ANC3. That was a moment because I didn't even know until I started getting tagged in their videos at all.
He was just having fun, and then all of a sudden he's everywhere. The problem was he was everywhere, but he wasn't tagged, so a lot of people didn't know who he was still. It was just there's this law cosplayer out here that's just getting sturdy and just getting down. And people that's why I was like, y'all, hey, that's Jasirii. Like I said, I'd already met him, but by that point, but like I said, for a lot of people, as I've seen, because I pay attention a lot, that was a lot of people's introduction to my brother right here. So it's like definitely always keep it going. Like freaking, like I said, celebrities were reposting that, and when I was just seeing that, I'm like, man, somebody please redo this and put my brother's name on it, because they need to know his
give him his
name.
credit.
And
Got to give him his credit.
like, my brother should have 100,000 followers right now. And yes, I'm going to say that. If nobody else says it, Jasirii should be as big as he is right now. He is the king of New York. He kills those cosplays. He kills his content. The photo shoots, especially with the people he has around him up there, is definitely doing it. And the fact that he doesn't have 3 times the following that he already has right now is criminal. And I'm going to need you guys to get on board and wake up.
Facts.
Like, absolutely. But like I said, especially what you were saying about being featured as the only male in a lot of things, because we know, especially online, the internet is ran by a bunch of horny dudes, and they want to see girls in wearing next to nothing. So, women cosplayers are usually going to get those recognition. Not saying that they're not good. They're amazing. And a lot of times they deserve that recognition. But when a guy is able to break through and get that recognition, it's always something. Because a lot of times it's because your craft really what it is. And not always, because there's some of you buff male cosplayers out there that got these girls drooling all over y'all. I could name drop some people right now, but I'm not gonna do it. Like, y'all, now look, I can't look. I'm mad because I don't have those muscles. I can't beat y'all. I tried exercising.
It's never too late, baby. The gym is always love at the gym, man. It's never too late.
Man, look, I'm not gonna display my age live on the podcast. And if you knew how old I am, the older you get, the harder it takes to get your body in shape, bro. It is it's going to take me longer to try to do that. I just got to stay dedicated. I know it's mostly on me. It's okay.
Hey, you said it earlier, man. It's 80% diet. That's half the battle right there.
Yeah,
well, most of the battle.
I like my banana pudding too much. I've always said, I don't care what diet you put me on. I'm not getting rid of my banana pudding. I'm not doing it. But, I mean, if I get rid of all the other sweets, I think I should still be fine. But I'm not getting rid of my banana pudding. It's not like I eat it every week or even every month for that matter. It's just, it's never going to leave my life. I don't care. I can become the healthiest person in the world. That is going to stay there. But that is definitely amazing. Like I said, for anybody that may not know you, I hope they learn a little bit more about you today, especially how you cosplay, like we said, from every different aspect of entertainment. And that is great. But we also like to get people's opinions on those sides of entertainment. And Jasirii knows where I'm going with this, because we ask every guest when they come on here. We got this ongoing debate that we ask everybody, and it is time to see if you are on the right side of history. So, Venture Bros, I need you to say it with your chest. Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network?
Cartoon Network.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
another one on the winning team.
Hey, I love Nickelodeon to death. Don't get me wrong, but Cartoon Network, hands down. Like, I never, there was a moment in time where I stopped watching Nickelodeon. You know what I'm saying? But there was never a point in time where I stopped watching Cartoon Network. So that big break after Korra, after Avatar and Korra, you know what I'm saying? That big break, that's when I kind of fell off of Nickelodeon. But Cartoon Network, nah, it's always been bangers. Always.
They always have something going on, and they had their eras. Even putting Toonami and Adult Swim to the side, they always had their eras. Whether it was when they first became a network and they played all the classic stuff, the old school Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, still some of the most goated cartoons that have ever existed. I know people always like to come back and meet with SpongeBob, and you know what? Y'all can have SpongeBob. I get it. It's a generational cartoon. Y'all grew up. I love SpongeBob myself.
Yeah, I still
think it's the most quoted cartoon of all time. But I will always still take Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry over SpongeBob any day, all day, any time of the week. So you had that era with them and like Yogi Bear and all of that stuff. And then you started moving into the era where they started doing original programming. So now we're in the era of Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and all of them started coming through and they made their wave. So then it was like, all right, now we got this wave. And then by the time they started fading out, it's like, okay, there's this little cartoon called Teen Titans that just slipped through, and Ben 10 and all of them started hitting the airwaves, along with some of the more Batman series that started coming along, and Justice League. And it's like, okay, all right, y'all still doing something. What's the next generation got? Oh, I don't know. Just this thing called Adventure Time, this thing called Steven Universe. This thing called Regular Show. You know, it's like, okay, well, what else you got? Okay, then you started getting like Gumball and all. Like they just kept going.
They just kept coming. Like Cartoon Network don't never let up. It's always bangers.
That's a fact.
You know, even all the way down to like the other shows. You know, like the Chowders or the Craig of the Creeks of the world and stuff like that. It's like they've always.
I gotta say this. I gotta say this on the record.
Say it.
Craig of the Creek was peak, especially at the time that it came out, because that's when the little black boys needed it the most from Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Network gave it. Like when it came to being a black child and having an adventure with your friends,
Mm-hmm.
man, I want to hear nothing else. I want to hear nothing else, because that was a generational bomber. Can we drop a bomb for that? That was a generational bomber.
Yeah,
it was.
I'll drop some for that for you. Like that was what it was. Plus, you know, it was good to have black people have that representation
right
on Cartoon Network, because they had already messed around with Class of 3000, which I also thoroughly enjoyed when it was, but it wasn't there very long, and you know, for lots of reasons, as we know. But Class of 3000 was also my joint, and I wish they were able to find a way to keep that going. But and that's all the stuff without Adult Swim. But then you also slide into Toonami and Adult Swim, because I know one of the things that was also on the list that you sent me, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh yeah. I used to stay up so many nights just to check out Aqua Teen Hunger Force, man.
Facts. Ghost Channel, Space Ghost Coast to Coast was another one.
Yeah, Space Ghost.
R.I.P.
Facts.
Yeah, I used to, man.
Look, I remember, and this
I even watched C-Lab. Like
I was about to get to that.
C-Lab.
Oh, my bad. Showing my age a little bit, but I remember before there was an Adult Swim, it wasn't a thing yet on Cartoon Network. New Year's Eve, 1999. Yes, guys, I remember dates and stuff. People will get annoyed by my memory. New Year's Eve, 1999. Like I said, I'm young, and so of course I'm a kid. I'm not gonna go out for New Year's. I'm not old enough to go out.
Right.
And when New Year's hit, first of all, you know, it got rid of all these rumors of Y2K fear, so that was out the way. So you know, so we hit year 2000, and I had it on Cartoon Network. And then all of a sudden, so I'm staying up to at least just watch Cartoon Network, because they had like a little New Year's Eve thing going on with the cartoons and stuff. And then all of a sudden, they just started playing these shows that I'd never seen on the channel before. And again, this was pre-Adult Swim. Just all of a sudden, they started playing this thing called C-Lab 2021.
Yo.
And it just started playing, and I'm like, I think I can get with this. Like, they started like swearing and all this stuff. I'm like, wait, they're doing
that so crazy, man.
Funny as
hell. I remember one episode. This dude they went to like a Chinese dude's place, and it'll get canceled now, but back then they went to this Chinese dude's place. He was like a doctor's office. They was like, yeah, we came to see some hoes. And he was like, no, I'm whole. And then they was like, no, we came to see some hoes. And I was like, bro, I can't believe this is like on television right now. You know?
I know. And speaking of stuff that would get you canceled now, I remember when that went off, then this cartoon called Aqua Teen Hunger Force came on right behind it. Like, this a show about fast food products? Like what fever dream am I watching right now? And your phone turned.
Uh-oh.
Or maybe we lost him. Oh no, we lost him completely.
We did. He'll be back. Welcome to our short commercial break.
We'll be right back. Dun, 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 dun. Like, you know, he was on his phone. Hopefully he had his phone plugged up, and I hope that wasn't a battery thing.
Facts. Well,
because
in the meanwhile, until we get our host back, until we get our guest back,
until we get our guest back, I know what we're saying. Like, hey, so we look. Ghost Channel also dropped the bomb down in the track. Yes, because you know that Cartoon Network, and now the tally's actually getting out of hand. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but we been knew this. It's been a thing where Cartoon Network is Golden State. You feel me? We have a bunch of shooters. The Splash Brothers. We have all the shooters. We have extra shooters. We have Draymond Green. We got too much defense. We got too much offense. Like it's an all well-rounded team. Like there was never a bad moment for Cartoon Network. If there ever was, it probably would have been Nickelodeon. But that's not our problem.
And you know, the funniest thing is, and you know, you never want to make anything about like sex or anything like that. But if you notice, everyone that came on here and said Nickelodeon has all been female. Every single one of them.
No, not everyone, because we got two women that said Cartoon Network.
No, I'm not saying we haven't had any women that said Cartoon Network. What I'm saying is we haven't had any guys say Nickelodeon.
Oh.
That's what I'm getting at. Oh, and I see him back. Let's go ahead and pull him back into the podcast, you guys. We had a brief temporary thing there. Did your phone die?
Yeah, so I had to put on the other one.
Hey,
you got the chant back.
You know what I'm saying? Always gotta keep a spare, you know.
you got to. 2 phones, one for the content and one for the.
Yes, you see, when I'm in cars, you know that I always keep 2 phones on me. You know, but what I was saying was, like I said, these fast food products, and I'm like, they are completely hilarious. And
they crazy. They so crazy, bro. Like I was in the military watching it. It was like, because in the military, right, it's like college dorms. So in the middle floor of whatever dorm you're in, it's got like a little day room where it's a giant TV. It's got couches in there, pool table, whatever. So I'll be in there like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force. People will be walking by, looking there. They're coming there. What you watching? What the fuck is this? They'll sit down, start watching, and start cracking up. Next thing you know, it's like 10 of us in there just laughing at this. And everybody be like, yo, you doing this tomorrow again? I'll be like, yeah, I'll be back in there watching it. Man, it was like every night we would come together to watch it. You know what I'm saying?
And that was the funny thing, because like I said, when you first look at it, you're like, what is this dumb crap I'm looking at right now? And then minutes in, it's like, man, this is so stupid. When does it come on again?
right. Because it'll have you cracking up. You like, yo, this is retarded, but it'll have you laughing. And I can only imagine, because I was in the military, so I wasn't allowed to get high. But I can only imagine if you was lit watching it. Like, it probably was crazy hilarious.
Half of Adult Swim's audience was high when they watched some of that stuff that came on.
Yeah. Especially like regular show.
You had to be. But what I was saying was, there was this episode of Aqua Teen, and it was just insane. And again, they couldn't do this episode today because of, you know, and stuff like that.
You'd have to remove Carl completely as a character. You'd have to like completely delete him off the show.
There was literally an episode where they went to the restaurant and Carl pulled the thing off, and his fortune was, tonight you will get your dick ripped off. And they said the word dick like 100 times in that episode.
That's a fact.
I remember Carl ordered a mail order bride, and he tried to lock her in the room, and she figured out how to get out, and she ended up like slitting his Achilles or something. I was like, bro, what? I was like, they too crazy. And then Shake was like, no, I paid for it too. She's got to cook for me. I was like, bro, they are wilding right now. So I don't know how they got away with that stuff back then, but that was crazy.
There was no cancellation fees.
Right.
Yeah, because then there was the one where like he like turned into a clown, and he also had like the hookers on that when he was like in the mirror trying to like practice saying like compliments. He's like, I really like your shoes. I mean, then he just like, no, I'm not. Hey, I see you looking at my package. Come here, bitch. I was like, what?
I'm telling you, I don't know how they used to get away with that stuff.
That meatball was diabolical.
Diabolical, bro. Because when I think back about it, I'm like, man, how even though they would get canceled now, I'm like, how they even get that like cleared back then? Like, that's crazy.
Because that was 25 years ago, and
different
the landscape of the world is different now.
Different generation.
I mean, think about it. Look at some of the movies we watched growing up. Half of those movies couldn't be shown today.
Yeah.
Like I remember,
y'all used to watch Loiter Squad.
Yes. Yes.
Bro, that used
Yes.
to have me dying,
Yes.
man.
My
Dying.
birthday, Joe, my birthday. You gonna give me a birthday gift for my birthday? Yo, if you get it, you get it.
Like that's really like, because since I was in the military, I was deploying a lot. So that was like my introduction to Tyler the Creator, because I was deployed when he was first dropping his album. So when I saw Loiter Squad and I saw him, I'm like, bro, this dude is crazy. And then they was like, oh, that's Tyler the Creator. I was like, okay, who the fuck is Tyler the Creator? And they was like, no, he got some dope ass music. So shit, man, that was my introduction to him. Really, to me, that was RDC World before RDC World was Loiter Squad. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, they've been
That's a
around a
fact.
long time, and if they've even gotten a little bit of inspiration from them, then that would definitely be something. But there is one cartoon that did come on Adult Swim that I actually want to do a full focus on, which is an actual topic, and that would be the Boondocks.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that anime?
Boondocks. I literally just did a post this week because and I don't knock Carl Jones at all, you know what I'm saying? I know his contribution to it, but I saw like 4 different posts call him the creator of Boondocks. So I made a post. I'm like, no, Aaron Magruder is the creator. I was like, Carl Jones, he did help out. He was a voice actor. I was like, but that's totally different. He's not the creator. You know what I'm saying? So like Boondocks, that's that show was so important to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I had been reading the comic strips of Boondocks way before it was on Cartoon Network. So I grew up reading those comic strips. So by the time it had made it to Cartoon Network, I was like, oh shit, they finally giving us a show. I was like, how they gonna get away with that? Because he goes political all the time. I was like, I don't know how they gonna make it. But somehow the show did, you know what I'm saying? It was raunchy, crazy, woke, you know what I'm saying, inspiring. It touched everything. And I loved it, man. Everything I could imagine.
And speaking of, like you just said, I don't know how they're going to put that on, which is why I don't know how they even attempted to try to talk about bringing it back. I just said, how?
Yeah, how?
Listen, I'm not going to hold you. I know that they could bring it back just because they focused on the topics of that era. So whatever was around, they built around it. Soldier Boy beef built around it. Stink Meter built around it. The dodgeball tournament built around it because what was his name? Will Ferrell made that dodgeball movie.
Yeah.
At the same time, who dropped it with the little Asian kids and the black kids facing each other?
No, that's man, that
So
episode.
I can see them doing it again.
Well, it isn't even really just necessarily because of the topics. Because remember, there are some episodes that even like the streaming services were like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. Like the Tyler Perry episode, or the Martin Luther King episode, the R. Kelly episode.
Martin Luther King episode. I just love that episode.
Yeah, it's not available on streaming. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that episode's not available on streaming. Like they're like, we can't do this anymore.
That's crazy. Like I know they wouldn't. Like I was thinking they would ban stuff like the homies over hoes and stuff like that. I thought they'll ban that, But
no, apparently they allow that to find a little bit more. All the gangsta-licious stuff, and it's like, but yeah, the homies over hoes.
And the community loves it. Both of them.
Right.
Do the homie.
Right, do the homemade. Yo, I was dying when I first saw that. I was like, they crazy.
He said, so I'm wearing a crop top. That's my favorite rapper. And I'm wearing what he wear. Does that make me?
Riley was shook, boy.
He's gay, isn't he?
Yeah. Riley was so
and
shook,
that make me gay, don't it? Yes.
Riley was shook, man.
Oh man.
And that's what they're saying. Like characters, like when they say it can't come back, they're not talking about necessarily like topics, because again, like they had Tyler Perry, like the R. Kelly one, and the R. Kelly episode came out before we found out more stuff that he did.
Yeah, everybody knew what he did. It just came to light.
Yeah, that wasn't the sex slave stuff. That was just the peeing on old girl stuff.
Yeah, and they're talking about personal responsibility needing to come into some stuff. I see P, I move. She saw P, she stayed.
Oh man, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. But no, now they talk about like in today's climate having the Riley character or the Uncle Ruckus character.
Riley would be a rough one nowadays, cause like all that calling stuff gay, they cause remember Riley calls so everything gay. Nigga, you gay.
Yeah, they said that, and they told us like,
All
he
the,
said,
yeah,
what are
they had
you
like a
talking about?
5-minute montage.
And
Cause
like,
Huey was like, you don't think that's gay. He was like, you that thinks everything is gay. Then it was like a 5-minute montage of Riley, nigga, you gay. You gay. That's gay. Like so
he even
I
said
don't know.
the time he said he didn't see the big deal. He said, I saw gay. I said gay. It's like you couldn't now. And like I said, and we've talked about, everybody knows about Uncle Ruckus, even if you've never seen Boondocks.
Oh yeah.
So
You
that's
niggas
why
over there. Yeah, Uncle Ruckus is crazy, boy.
from
Because I met the
episode
voice
1,
actor like maybe a couple of months ago. I had just met him for the first time, and man, he still do the voice just like him. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro.
yes, that's that. There are no shortage of Uncle Ruckus cosplays at these cons. I can tell you
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're everywhere.
If anything, it's resurfacing crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to do a stink meaner one, but I was like, I would have to shave if I was gonna do stink meaner. But yeah, I was thinking about doing him a couple of years ago. Because I seen this cat at BlurCon do it. That's why I didn't do it. I saw this dude at BlurCon do it. I was like, damn, he beat me to it. Mhm.
Yo.
And Ghost said this is a good one for Ed Wonsler. Brought down an entire neighborhood's property value through Granddad's dream job just to buy the place across the street.
Bruh, that was crazy. Because the dude said it at the beginning of the episode. He said the bank is trying to fuck me and all these Jamba Juice places to open it up. And so the white dude said it at the beginning of the episode, but I ain't catch it right away. And the girl I was dating at the time, she was like, oh, that's what he was talking about at the beginning. That's what he really wanted to get rid of. He wanted to drop the property value. And I was like, damn, I was like, this show, it gets pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
But you can tell that they keep trying to do it. The problem is, I don't know if you can ever recreate the magic of the Boondocks. And I remember when it ended, and then they did bring it back, but everybody didn't come back.
yeah.
Wasn't
Because Aaron was gone.
Yeah.
Was gone.
It wasn't the same. You could tell it wasn't even necessarily just because everybody wasn't back, but it was also the climate had changed, and you could tell they were probably like, y'all can't go as far as you used to. So it was like a toned down version of the Boondocks.
Yeah. Like
So,
you would need Aaron would definitely have to be back. And then, like you said, they would need a team to kind of address the issues now and make comedy out of that versus the issues back then.
I mean, South Park still does that to this day, so I don't see why Boondocks can't do it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. South Park too, because I wasn't the biggest South Park fan until they started doing the story type episodes, like it all tied together. When they started doing episodes like that, that's when I started fucking with South Park. But at first, I was like, but yeah,
like this show is kind of.
I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't watch that growing up. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't. So, it was definitely, especially in the schools, like the kids, like, because it was something we weren't supposed to watch. So of course we looked at it. And that was a big thing for us. But especially when they talked about they were gonna bring Boondocks back again. And now I'm like, number one, is everybody coming back? Number two, how you gonna do this without John Witherspoon?
Well, his son does sound just like him, but his son, I saw he said that they didn't want him back. He said that they were in talks about him coming back and doing, his dad's character, about doing Granddad, but he said that then they stopped communicating with him. And he said it just fell through. I was like, damn. I was like, because he's done the voice before. Of course, that's his dad. So that's easy for him. That's nothing.
Right.
But he did it, and I was like, yeah, he would be the perfect person to throw in there.
I guess they could write him out because especially if they were going to be a little older, obviously Granddad can't live forever. I think depending on what you would do with Huey and Riley after he's gone, like where they would have been placed, they can get some
can't imagine the show. I can't imagine the show without Granddad. Of course, if they're older, like you said, that makes total sense. It's hard for me to imagine the show even like them without Granddad. Is like what? But if they were teenagers or young adults, like you said, he would probably definitely be dead because he was already old. So
that's what I'm saying. So it would depend on how they're doing it. So because you think that if they would have brought it back, they probably would make them a little older now, and that would give them an excuse to be like, okay, this is why he's not around anymore, because obviously he can't be there forever. Just like with any of these sequel series and stuff they be coming out with lately. Unfortunately, with all of them, as you know, because a lot of these shows came out 30, 35 years ago, and everybody's not with us anymore. You know, it's unfortunately like plaguing King of the Hill right now.
Oh,
because, you know, unfortunately, they're losing people left and right.
Yeah. Like, but you see on Proud Family, Sugar Mama still Sugar Mama still alive and kicking.
They also aren't older though either. Like they went right back to exactly where they were. But you know, like a King of the Hill, you know, it's the one that's getting ready to come back out. You know, Bobby's an adult now, and he got a job, and you know, so everything's different. But then it was like you said, even with it being a sequel series, and we understand, it's like then you already knew that Luann wasn't going to be on the show anymore because Brittany Murphy died years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so you're going to do this without Luann. And then, you know, the voice actor for Dell, he died while they were recording.
That's crazy. When I heard about that, I was like, shit. And then John Redcorn, he got murdered.
A hate crime.
Yeah. That was sad, man. I was sad about that because I'm like, damn, you know, for that type of stuff to still happen, man, it's just shit.
Ridiculous.
You know, sometimes you think we've come so far, and then you hear about stuff like that, and it's like, damn, did we?
But
you know,
I mean, there's always gonna be those few in the bunch, because unfortunately, there's people out there who their whole life is gonna be, I'm gonna have a kid, and I'm gonna make sure that they're a carbon copy of me. And as long as there's still people out there with that mindset, it'll never fully go away. It'll still slowly happen, because I, to this day, personally know friends with racist parents, but they have like disowned their parents because they're like, I'm not gonna grow up to be the way that you are. And that's how you start breaking the cycle.
Exactly.
You know, so you know, we got to have more and more of that going on, and then maybe one day, hopefully, we'll be alive, you know, to see it. We can finally be in a place where, because things are a lot better now than they were for our parents, you know, and they were a lot better for their parents. You know, so it's getting better. We're just not all the way there yet. So
once the society makes a turn.
I want to put you guys on the spot real quick for the Boondocks, though. And I'm going to start with you, Venture. What is your favorite Boondocks quote?
Favorite Boondocks quote? That's a hard one because it's like 50.
There's too many.
Let me think.
I'll let you cheat. I'll let you do like two.
Let me think. Favorite quote? I have to say it'll definitely be. Damn, I'm trying to think. It probably the funniest was the one with Granddad when he went to I think the insurance guy, and he was like, "Well, where do you think you'd see yourself in 20 years?" And he was like, "Dead." He was like, "What?" And Granddad was like, "What he said? I don't have health care, and when I try to go to the bathroom, I shit myself." And I was like, "Bro." I'm like, this dude, Granddad, out of control. So that was probably the funniest quote for me. And then if we go in two, it's definitely when Riley flipped out on like the Russian mafia. And he was like, get your Prince Albert. He started going crazy. That's definitely the second favorite quote. He started roasting everybody in the room. Oh, bro, I got that clip on YouTube. I'll be playing it sometime. That scene alone has me dying, man. It was when Riley had his little mink coat on.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the soft-face chair.
Yo.
Nah, that was good. Was King of New York. What do you got?
Damn, he took that one from me. You know what? The other two, I will say, I get two, right?
Yeah, I'll give you two, because I know it can be hard to just pick one.
It's the most ignorant one. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Just because he say you don't have a gun don't mean he don't have a gun, because he might have a gun, he might pull it out. Yeah, that was funny. And then the very first episode, what was it? Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government was lying about 9/11. my introduction to the Boondocks animated. Yeah.
Right, a little crazy. No, it was Huey. Yeah. I remember Huey saying that because he was like, "No, really, Ronald Reagan. I think he was the devil."
Facts. What about you?
Like, there are some that would be easy answers, right? Because they're popular in pop culture. So we try to leave those out. You know, the don't trust those niggas over there. You know,
Oh yeah, don't trust
you know,
them new niggas over there.
you know, a pimp named Slick Back is like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
ones that are out there. You know, dear Santa, you a bitch. Like,
Oh man, I didn't even think about
Yo,
that, man.
nah,
Damn.
that one was a good one.
See, that's
you
what I'm
know,
saying. Boondocks got so many because I didn't even think about those.
you got to pay what you owe Santa. Like, it's like those are the ones that are out there. But then there's like little ones for me that, like, remember when Granddad got addicted to weed?
Oh yeah, he was high as hell. Yeah.
Yo, oh my god.
And they said, and he was probably like, you got to choose, Granddad, weed or us. Weed! Like,
Weed.
man,
Yo,
he didn't even
man.
think about it.
Yo, I will say this. The Boondocks is the SpongeBob of Adult Swim. I don't care what nobody says. It will have the most quotes.
Quotable. Yes.
Yeah,
Most
definitely.
quotable show.
Definitely.
Man, it is definitely
Sir,
quotable.
this ain't a woman. This is a hoe. I remember that. Shit. Yo, that's so crazy, bro.
You know,
Like, it's so many popping in my head now. Shit.
Raleigh to Mr. Dubois. I can see if you lost your hoe to a real like T.I., I would say, hey, that's T.I., but Usher?
Oh yeah.
Yo.
I remember Granddad was dating old girl, and they was like, "Why you invite a kung fu wolf bitch in our house?" He was like, "How was I supposed to know she's a kung fu wolf bitch?"
Yo.
It's like so many popping in my head now. It's like shit. Boondocks had a lot of quotes.
Man.
A lot.
Man, a lot of quotes.
Oh, how can a borrow a fry?
Yeah.
It is. Knitter that. Can a knitter borrow a pencil?
Which that was actually a parody from something that actually happened.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which they did a lot on that show. They brought a lot from a lot of real life events and
yeah, no, definitely.
All over.
100%.
Let's see. Ghost said smaller one for me is when Stickman comes back and Ruckus has to exercise him by putting the book to his fave and saying, read. Yeah, I remember that. The exorcism episode.
Yo,
oh, yeah.
That was hilarious.
And they was whooping over shit. Oh, man, that was crazy. Yeah, that's what him and fucking, oh my goodness. He was like, yeah, those porch monkeys. He was like, wait, I call them porch monkeys too.
Yo.
Like you said, Granddad finally called Uncle Ruckus out there, what's out there playing cards, saying, why are you so glad about black people all the time? You black as eight spade, man.
He said, why you like white people so much? And he was like, because the white man just happy to be alive. He gets out there, runs in the fresh air and breathes. I was like, bruh. I was like, chill.
Man said, he black as eight spade. Man said, I got that read vertigo. That's opposite of what Michael Jackson got. Lucky.
Yeah, man. Boondocks got so much shit, man.
I'm finna go find white man and lie to him right now.
Oh man.
Oh man, yeah, we could definitely sit here all day and quote Boondocks, but then we would end up having no more show left over. So I wanted to switch over from Cartoon Network to Nickelodeon because, again, even though we think Cartoon Network is better, that does not mean that Nickelodeon does not have some bangers. And one of those that was on your list is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar was a beast, man. Like shit. That first, and I know a lot of people be like, it's not anime, You know, I don't really care. It's like shit. It felt like an anime to me, but hey, whatever. But
Honorary.
the way they had dipped into like martial arts and then they mixed in the control of elements, everything. And then once you like hear about how the directors went about it and they like how they created the different styles and everything, it was just made it amazing. And that's not even talking about the actual story. That was just the workings of that world. And then when you get to the actual story, like Zuko's growth and development, I want to say it's up there with Vegeta's almost.
You know what? That's actually, we can go there right now. I was gonna say eyes on your own paper, but that was actually my next topic, talking about Zuko's redemption arc. So you already drove us in that direction. I like it when stuff just naturally flow like that. So
that growth was like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because like you see all the stages, everything he went through. It's like, damn. I'm like, all right. It was extremely compelling.
I will say, but even back then, you could always tell that Zuko had a good heart. It was just, most of the evil he did was because he had daddy issues.
Yeah.
And he wanted his dad's approval. That man. Do you think that man really cared about killing the Avatar?
Yeah, no, he just wanted to prove himself.
He said he knew, he was told that's the only way you're getting back in. Because the whole reason he got his face burned and was fought by his daddy and all that in the first place was because he sat in on a meeting. You heard what they was up to, and was like, I don't know about that.
yeah. He's like, Zuko, shh. It's your first meeting. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
So so it's like that's how you knew you could be redeemed, because it's all started because he had a good heart. And it's like, But just like with anybody, it seems like that's why, because he had a lot of his mom in him, not like his damn sister. Like
right. But it would have went the opposite direction, because if Zuko was successful and had captured Aang and managed to take Aang back, Ozai would have killed Aang. And that's what that would have weighed on Zuko's heart, and that's when Zuko would have went dark. But luckily he wasn't successful as far as being able to keep Aang when he would capture him. So
there were times where Aang was captured, and my man wouldn't put on a mask and set him free.
Yeah, because he really didn't have to. But he was like, nah. He was like, if anybody gonna catch him, it's gonna be me.
Yeah, because the whole thing is, it's not that he has to be captured. My obsession is I have to be the one to do it,
right? Because
I have to seek the approval. I was told I have to do it, so you can't do it. No, you got it. Nah, I can't have that.
right.
Don't you did.
So,
like I was told, but you just kept seeing just throughout. So between his original idea, him saving Aang when he didn't have to save Aang, the moment he had with Katara, where it seemed like there for a moment, like maybe
I thought him and Katara was about to go ahead and hit it off, because they were getting kind of close. Like Aang, that was total plot. Aang being able to bag Katara, because her and Zuko, they was totally like the tension was there. You know what I'm saying?
And I will say this also, that also helps Zuko out a lot, versus Azula. Azula didn't have an Uncle Iroh that was always in her corner either.
Nah, that's right.
She had home girls. That's all she needed, clearly, because throwing lightning out, beating up everybody. Like, first off, she was a beast. Let's just start off there. And how old did you see how young she was? And she was just like, oh, you could do that? How did you bet? Lightning. Yeah. And call her brother bitch in the corner, like, yeah, bitch. Next, I'm beating your grown ass, then your mother's ass afterwards.
Because if Iroh never taught Zuko how to reverse lightning, Azula would have bodied the shit out of him easily. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
So, but he had, like you said, he had Iroh teach him. Iroh not only taught him mentally how to get through what he was going through, but he taught that nigga how to reverse lightning. And he used that twice. He used it on Azula and he used it on Ozai. Yeah, so if Iroh never taught him that, Zuko would have been out the game.
Right, but that's the whole thing. You upgrade and you get better. So I'm not gonna really put it on it. If he didn't, that's what you're supposed to do. Go out there and get stronger.
No,
But
you
like I
right.
said, he did have Uncle Iroh that believed in him and was always teaching wisdom. And
Mm.
meanwhile, Azula came from the Soulson school of evil. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that whole side of things. He was her father and her grandfather all day long, to the point where she didn't even care if her brother died. It's like, oh, I gotta go kill him. Okay.
And you know, they did a good job because I really thought Zuko fucked up for good when he imprisoned Iroh. What was that? The end of season 2?
Yes.
Yup.
When he imprisoned Iroh, I was like, yo, it's no coming back from this, bro. You had your redemption arc and you fucked up again. I was like, it's no coming back.
Because it
But
was
they
really
did a
right
good
there. That
job.
was right after the moment he had with Katara. And it seemed like, okay,
Yeah.
he's finally gonna, and you know, and this was right before, you know, because they wanted to run and everything. And he was actually finally starting to let it go and was enjoying being a refugee. You know, Iroh was opening up his shop and he was proud of his uncle. And then,
Yeah.
he saw, oh, an opportunity. My father might actually be proud of me again. Nah,
Daddy,
nah,
you?
okay.
Mhm. As soon as that option became a thing again, he completely went for that option.
Iroh had to get locked up and all this stuff had to go down. It's like them daddy issues was real.
I think what really changed it or sealed it, where he decided to go Team Iroh for good, was when him and Aang's danced with the dragons. I think that woke him up. That's when he was like, all right, you know what? This is my destiny. You know, I got to be on Team Avatar.
But you also know by that point, when they had to go off because he had lost like his ability to fire bend, so you know by that point he had done already made the decision that he was going to the other side.
Yeah, because that's
You
when
know,
Sparky Boom Man was hunting them down too.
you know, you could say Zuko finally manned up, but no, he waited until a solar eclipse to go approach his daddy. It's like, yeah, now that I know you can't do shit, I got some stuff I've been gonna tell you.
Shit, and it's crazy because shit, Ozai still did lightning even during the eclipse.
It's like,
So
look, now that I know that you can't do anything, you ain't shit, your daddy wasn't shit, and you know what? I'm teaming up with the Avatar.
mm-hmm.
They said, oh, is that so, you say?
Yeah. And then like Toph is just one of the best characters I feel like in fiction. Yeah.
In fiction,
Toph is
period.
just that's an amazing character. Like even in Korra, they had her OP because in Korra, I remember like a couple of Toph's grandkids got captured with Korra, and literally Toph went, broke all them out of jail at the Lady Corvina's like fortress, broke all them out. Corvina seen it. Corvina didn't even go down there to fight her. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, look, her grandkids was like, Grandma, we could win the rebellion. And she was like, no. She was like, y'all can do that. I'm going home. I was like, that's how OP Toph is. I was like, the main evil person don't even want to see her. Like, this is a girl who beat Korra already. She didn't even want to see Toph. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, Toph is just like that's one of the sickest characters in fiction.
I'll say this. You don't even have to go as far as Korra. We can just go back to Avatar. The woman got captured in a metal case. And all she did was just on the spot create metal bending. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna create this thing that doesn't exist and get out of here.
Like this was created out of what? Oh, I see it. I can see it now. Ironically, I can see it now.
right. Yo, man. So yeah, Toph is just that was an amazing character. That's why when anybody ever puts like Toph against somebody, I'm like, bro, Toph would, because I think they tried to do Terra from Teen Titans versus Toph, and I was like, bro, don't ever disrespect Toph like that again, bro. Please.
She taking that rock from up under her. Literally.
Yeah, for real.
No matter how mad she get.
Right. It depends on how Toph want to clap her. You know what I'm saying? Like, does she want to beat her just real quick? Does she want to take her time with it? Shit,
Oh, why she can't see you? Because she just feels everything. Like, you gotta understand, she feels all that under her. She's gonna know where you are before you start doing. If you're on the ground, you better float.
Yeah, you better float.
Hello. She can see the metals in the tuna that you ate this afternoon.
Right. Right.
Toph was the epitome of, look, you don't have to be able to see to know what's going on. Although she had her moments.
Yeah.
You know,
But
obviously,
you know, she was
being
also a
blind.
little kid. You know what I'm saying? So she was a little kid, really, because she was the youngest, I think, out of all of them. So, you know, I could understand her fucking up sometimes because she
Well,
was
I
so
mean, just
young.
being blind, you know, there's some things she's not gonna know. You know, like she's putting up the signs upside down, and
Yeah,
it's like
she don't know
obviously
how to
she's
do
not gonna know
makeup and
anything.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
she joked about it a lot of times, though. There
Yeah,
it is. That's what it will sound like when one of you see it.
right. And I don't care what nobody say. Her daughter, one of her daughters, is definitely Sokka's kid. Cause,
yo, yo, yo.
By the way, real quick,
'cause she got a light daughter and she got a darker skinned daughter. I'm like, yo, that's Sokka's kid. I don't give a fuck. Like,
She
I'm
left
gonna get to
Boomy for
Sokka
a
here
little
in
bit
just
and
a
then went
second.
back to Boomy after she got pregnant. That's what I believe.
But real quick,
right,
Ghost
for
Kettle
real.
said, "I don't know about that. Terra was clapping demon boosted Raven."
Bro,
Come on.
okay, let's entertain it a little bit. How would Terra even be able to hit Toph? Because the amount of speed Toph would get her in, like we're not even talking about Toph just bending. Toph would be able, because if we're going by Toph at the end of Avatar's the first series, like you said, she can metal bend. So that means she's gonna be able to see any metal particles. Terra literally wearing metal shit. You know what I'm saying? She like, you know, like yo, Toph would fuck her up with the shit she has on. You know what I'm saying? And then we're not talking about if she's like close to any rocks or ground or if she's on the ground, because that's she's toast. She's toast. She wouldn't even be able to hit top. You know, so that's the thing about it. Like I'm not saying Terra's weak, but when it comes to fighting Toph, she's gonna look weak because she wouldn't even be able to get a hit off.
Yeah,
Come on now.
and that's always been an interesting debate that I'm probably going to start asking people at cons, to be honest with you, because that's
Yeah.
always interested to see what people want to say about them. But like
The
I said,
only
go
the
ahead.
only one that I think might be a good debate when it comes to Toph is Toph versus Gar. I think that's a really tough one because Gara,
Sand.
That's
that
bad.
motherfucker is vicious. Like especially if we're talking about demon, you know what I'm saying, Gara. Like that version is like that's a tough one. I don't know if Toph could pull that. You know what I'm saying? Because he also has ninjutsu on top of that. So it's like trying to really go up against Gara. I don't know if Toph could pull that one off.
He is
Not
tough.
saying
That's
she'll
who I
lose,
am right
but
there.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
They said he has
That's
the
who I
best
am.
defense for a reason. So
Right.
it's hard to penetrate.
Like just like I said, you can't really hit Toph. Shit, Gara don't even gotta be paying attention, and his
And the
shit
thing
gonna
about
pop up and
Gara
block.
is, the only way you're usually anyone's ever been able to penetrate Gara is you have to have like lightning speed. The only people with like lightning speed has really been able to penetrate through Gara's defense.
Yeah.
Toph is great, but she isn't known for having lightning speed.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
And not only did he have lightning speed, but his power, once he had the gates, like his strength was like off the chain too. So that's how when he punched Gar, you know what I'm saying? Because remember, Gar had that giant ball, he punched through it. This motherfucker Gar started screaming out, you know what I'm saying? Now Gar did trick him, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I feel like Lee was a hack, had the cheat code. Because with the gates, man, he was just ultra strong and ultra fast. So
And
Toph,
Lee at
Toph ain't
that
gonna have that
time had
advantage.
not unlocked all of his gates yet. So I'm sure
Mhm.
Lee would have loved to have ran that back sometime and see how that result
Oh
would have
yeah,
been.
yeah, and that's not even Drunken Monkey,
Yep.
Lee, either, you know, because I don't know, Drunken Monkey Lee that was another cheat code, you know what I'm saying?
Completely.
As completely, but
Mhm.
yeah, but back to Avatar, because we know there's been a lot of growth that happened in the Avatar series, and Zuko isn't the only one that kind of had to do some growing. Sokka kind of had to as well, because there
Oh
was
yeah,
Sokka at the beginning of that series versus Sokka at the end, completely different person.
yeah, he had mastered like 5 sword styles. He learned leadership and planning. You know, I know a lot of people say that he learned not to be a sexist, but I
I
was
mean,
like,
he
man, he
did.
was a kid. He was a kid. You know what I'm saying? sometimes kids got to grow out of that, you know.
No, sometimes kids got to be beat out of that because that's what happened to Sokka. He ran to the Suki who whooped that ass, and it's like, you know what? Women are strong.
Right, right.
You seen, as soon as that happened, he didn't even think like that anymore. He was like, damn.
Yeah,
I guess I was wrong.
Facts.
And then
you
he
know,
just became a ladies' man from that point forward.
Oh yeah. Sokka was, man, he was catching bodies, man, because every girl liked him. Even Azula girls, they was all digging him. You know, Ty Lee wanted to get with him.
Ty Lee wanted some Sokka.
The Kyoshi Warriors.
Toph
When he
wanted
went to
Sokka.
Earth Kingdom, all them Earth Kingdom women wanted Sokka.
Yep.
Shoot.
Like Toph
Warriors
showed it a few times that she kind of had a little...
Warriors was on his body.
No, Toph definitely. That's why I said Toph Kid. I feel like it's Sokka, the dark skin one, because I'm like, wait a minute. Like she pretty much said, like, look, once we become of age, this is gonna be a thing. Like, you know, that's why when they had them as adults and then she never married Sokka, I was like, huh? But see, Korra was weird because they never said if Sokka had any kids or not. They never really talked about Sokka's life. You know,
and I don't know if they really cover them in the novels because I didn't read all of those because, you know, those are also canon.
Yeah, I don't even. I mean, I've read some of them, but I didn't read like all those different offshoot comics.
Because, you know, you have to read those to find out what happened to Zuko's mom and all
and
of that
what happened to Azula and stuff.
Yeah, and especially what happened to Azula because, you know, we know she went insane there at the end. But Sokka's got holes in different area codes, man.
No,
this
you
named the kingdom. He got one in the Fire Kingdom. He got one in the Earth Kingdom, Water Kingdom, on the moon.
Katara, I wasn't really feeling Katara at first because she just whined so much about her mom. I was like, bro, shut up. Come on, man. Like, chill out.
I mean, she did watch her mom die.
In person, in IRL.
She watched
No. No, I just because she kept bringing it up, and I'm like, bro, like they all lost something, you know. So I ain't watched this whole damn. Well, he didn't watch it.
He didn't watch
it. He came back to the bodies of his whole damn fucking people, skeletons, piles of skeletons of his whole people. You know what I'm saying?
I get it, but
like
there's
all
still something about actually watching your parent get burned.
No, that's true. That's true.
That doesn't all sensitivity clicked off.
I'll put it this way. This is the same Katara who was basically forced into learning bloodbending, did not want to learn bloodbending, cried at the fact that she ended up learning bloodbending, said she was never going to use it again. But as soon as Zuko went to her, was like, yeah, I can tell you who killed your mom.
Yo, Zuko was so shook. Zuko was like, what the fuck? He was like, water can do. He was like, wait. Y'all ain't tell me y'all could do that type of shit. Like,
now all of a sudden, this woman is saying she is never using bloodbending again. It's like, boom, bloodbending. All right, where he at?
Right. Where is he? Where is he? Also, you see old boy like can't even move. I was like, bruh, Katara is a beast now. And they, yeah. Zuko was shocked as fuck when he saw that.
Because it had never been seen before. Because up until that point, only one person knew how to do bloodbending, and then Katara became only the second. And then, you know, then they go into Korra. Now, apparently, a lot of people can learn bloodbending.
Now, all types of people can do it.
They just completely, retconned what they said about bloodbending in the first place, but whatever.
And now they can do it any time of the month. It was supposed to be when the full moon is out. Now it's whenever, you know.
Yeah, because that's when, you know, the Water Kingdom, that's when they're at their most OP, during the moon. And now it's, Yeah.
I hate that Korra made everything, like, so common. Because what they tried to say like, oh, well, people, you know, through the evolution of people, it got more common to do. I was like, yo, we've literally seen thousands of years worth of avatars, and everybody was doing waterbending who was born from that tribe. It was only a few people who knew how to do it. So we saw like thousands of years of evolution, and everybody wasn't doing it like that. But now jump 70 or 80 years forward and everybody's doing it? Nah. That don't match up.
Especially with the blood bending, because the whole point of that was it was supposed to be something this woman taught herself how to do something that's never been done before, and then she taught it to Katara. Right. So it's like the only way anybody else should be able to learn is if one of them teaches it to them.
Right.
Which, of course, Katara is not going to do. See, that's why it didn't bother me with the metal benders, because I could see Toph going, hey, I learned this. I want to share this wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And they become everywhere, but the blood bending thing always got me.
And then Toph became a cop. I was like, I'm not buying it. I was like, this girl was totally against establishment. She was totally against government, but now all of a sudden she's gonna become the chief of police. I was like, I don't know, man.
She did grow up. She was a little girl. Like we said, people grow up, they think differently. So I don't know. Somewhere along the way, maybe she thought, I can do it the right way if I'm in charge, and make it, a complete opposite of what I didn't like about it.
But then she moved right back to the swamp.
I'm fucking crying. The way I look at it is literally, I'm looking at it like as the internet. Mm-hmm. It was slow, it was progressive. All right, cool. But then between that next break of the era is, all right, cool. Everything is fast forwarding now. It's Gen Alpha for them. You feel me? So yeah, they found a way to get around the red moon, so that way they could blood bend outside of it. So now it's just a person thing, opposed to okay, it's this time of the month that we can actually use blood bending.
Yeah,
and that's
now in theory that is true in theory, but if you look at the two common denominators when like metal bending and when blood bending was created, both times the women were in prison. They were already extremely gifted and then were imprisoned and had only to focus on that. And that's when they learned how to do it. So we would have to take into the account that these other people aren't being taught by these experts, that they came up on their own and learned how to do it during a time of peace. I don't know, man. That's kind of shaky.
Somebody taught them in secret. I'm not gonna hold you. Somebody gave them the source, and they spread the source. That's what it was. They wasn't supposed to spread the source, but they gave out that source.
They gave out the sauce.
I mean, I guess if one person can learn how to create it on their own, I'm sure that at least one other person could probably come up with that ability. I mean, it didn't happen up to that point, but we talk about it, different evolutions and everything.
It's almost like Dragon Ball when like Super Saiyan, right?
Oh,
so God. It took Goku to see Krillin die to go Super Saiyan. But then now you got Kefla just walking over to, saying, "Oh girl, cauliflower, whatever." And,
hey, this is tingling in your back and counter that anger.
I'm like, what? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. It took his best friend to get clapped right in front of him for that shit to happen. But now you just teach it willy-nilly and they just do it the first try. Like, nah, bro.
But also Goten. Look at Goten and Trunks.
Well, Goten learned it literally training with his mom. Like, they're just training, and all of a sudden it just comes out.
See, that's why I'll be like, yo, come on, man. Y'all killing the continuity.
Was it his mom?
Yes.
I thought it was a Gohan. Oh my god.
No, Goten turned
Goten
with Chi-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the big thing that was like, wait, Chi-Chi is actually training a kid? I thought she was against fighting. And something changed in her, and she was training him, and then.
Yeah.
We have to go dark for a few minutes because my thing fell.
Yeah, but man, they be killing. Oh wait, he wilding. But yeah, man, they be killing the continuity, man.
No, but like I was saying, back to Sokka's redemption, like you said, because we saw this man have to learn. Like to be a better warrior and leader as he got older. Like he learned how to fight, and without any bending skills.
Yeah, without any bending.
That's the most important part. Without bending.
Yeah. He got that meteorite sword. He started learning all those styles.
I mean, heck, Lord knows you keep running into all these girls that like you to know how to fight. I hope you know how to pick up something.
Yeah. All the girls like
Suki alone.
They'll be with him for like 5 minutes, fighting him or talking to him, and boom, they in love with him. When he went in that class full of Earth Kingdom girls, they whole class was on him. I was like, dang. I was like, yo, they got this man Sokka out here, super ladies man. That's his power. His power is getting getting women. Cause shit.
I mean, you know his daddy black.
But here's
Back
something,
in his day, he was
Venture.
the head
I
chief.
do want to get your opinion on this. It's something I ask from time to time because it was something that was teased in Avatar, but we never truly got the fight. Like they might have sparred like for like a second. So, who would win in a fight between Suki and Tali?
Tylee. Suki cold. Suki is cold, but she would. This is the thing. Suki would eventually get tired. Tylee's not gonna get tired.
Hello.
Yeah, Suki is cold, and she did learn teach herself in prison. She got much better at evading Tylee's attacks, but that onslaught isn't gonna stop from Tylee. She's just gonna keep going at you, and once Suki gets tired, that's when it's over. She's gonna paralyze her. That's it. You know, but she did do good. They second showdown when she was in prison.
It didn't
But
last
again,
very long though. Like we never got like a true fight with them. That's why that's why
true.
no one ever really knew. It was like that's why I love asking it because it's like yeah they threw a couple of hands but not really.
Yeah, it wasn't, you know, and then they was on top of a train.
Right.
A train in the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like a cart thing they was on top of in the sky. So it's like shit. If they were on flat surface, it'd be totally different. But you know, if you remember that fight, it wasn't a lot of Suki attacking. It was a lot of Suki playing defense. So that's why I said, like, I don't think she even had an opportunity to really fully try to attack Tylee, because like I said, that onslaught, she's just gonna keep coming, you know. So I don't think Suki would have won. I think she would have lost. I think she would have did well, better than anybody else, but it would have taken time, and she would end up losing eventually.
Tali is cold, man, and
yeah, Tylee is just a beast. I mean,
way too.
you
And I've
know,
always said this: way too perky to be from the Fire Nation.
yeah. She don't match that mold at all.
That's why I've always made the case that she might not actually be from the Fire Nation, because you know they always were a part of a traveling thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And you know, she because when they was fighting the Kyoshi Warriors, she took down like 4 or 5 of them. You know what I'm saying? If you watch that fight when they went and it was the 3 of them versus the Kyoshi Warriors, Tylee took down like 4 of them jokers, like immediately. Paralyzed. I was like, God damn. And even when they first fought Team Avatar, she paralyzed Sokka, and I want to say she paralyzed Katara. Or she cut off Katara's bending. You know what I'm saying? And Katara was like, I never even knew that existed.
and
You know
that's
what I'm
the
saying? So
thing.
that's how cold Tylee was.
Yup.
But that's why I have to say, you know, the first time I always got to throw out the window because even with a Katara, it's like obviously if you don't know that that's something you can do, you're not thinking to defend against it. You know, let Tylee try to run up on Katara now. But
I don't know if Katara. I mean, if it's a full moon, Katara easy. But if it's not a full moon, I don't know because Tylee, she's just so good, man. I mean, Aang couldn't even fuck with her, and Aang is probably the fastest person on the show, but Aang couldn't even get a hit off on Tylee. You know.
shoot, if Aang ever developed a killer instinct, wouldn't nobody be able to mess with him. But
Yeah.
you know.
She's not trying to kill people, and she still was like that lethal. So, you know, I don't know, man.
Let's see.
That's
Ghost said Suki ran up that wall to get the warden, and she was the one that fought Azula, even though she lost. So nobody saying Suki ain't cold. Suki,
Suki cold, but you know she lost to Azula. You know what I'm saying? So she could get got. That's what that's saying.
Oh, no, there's the next comment. Ghost says, "I got my money on Suki just because she got that dog in her."
Suki, dude, like, look, I ain't taking nothing away. Suki, when they showed that prison scene, I saw a whole new side of her. Because at first I was like, "Yo, these Kyoshi warriors, they just all hype." You know what I'm saying? They might look like Kyoshi, they ain't fighting like her. But when Suki went to prison and they showed that prison break, that was a whole new Suki. So you know what I'm saying? She do got that dog in her. But when have you ever seen anybody beat Tylee? You ain't never even seen anybody close to getting a hit on her. I think when she was digging Sokka, I think he might have headbutted her finger or something, And that was because his whole body was paralyzed.
Yeah.
He was just like that, you know what I'm saying? But we've never even seen anybody hit her, you know?
Fluid like water.
Yeah, because Lord
Mhm.
knows she just kind of stuck Azula from behind when they finally decided that they weren't going for her crap anymore.
Now, I do want to see that fight. I do wonder if her and Azula went heads up, because Azula did have her back to her when she paralyzed her.
Yeah, she
So
snuck
it
her.
was
And she didn't think she was going to do it because she thought she could trust it. It was like I'm already
Well-
dealing with May, who apparently I can't
Azula
trust.
was about to try to pop May with lightning. You know, that's Ty Lee's best friend. Like Azula is her best friend too, but her and May were closer.
Yeah.
So mine. So when Azula was about to electrocute Mai, you know Ty Lee wasn't gonna let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, and she literally sat there and looked at Azula and gave one of the coldest lines there was when she betrayed her. It's like, look, I love Zuko more than I fear you. And it's like, why'd you do it? It's like, well, all right then. I guess you got it done. Tali wasn't trying to have that. It's like, boop, boop. It's like, yeah, we're probably gonna go to prison now, but
you know, that whole arc, you could kind of see Mai and Azula drifting, and you saw Zuko and Mai get closer and closer. So you kind of saw the writing on the wall with that. You know, like if she had to make a choice, she's definitely choosing Zuko. You know, that whole island shit, she was all over Zuko.
I still have little to no respect for her though. I'm sorry. Like I don't really know what she actually did in that series, but you know what? If
Who, Mai?
Fast, yes.
Okay. So Mai was lethal too. She just wasn't on Azula and Ty Lee level. She was kind of like, it's like when you hooping and you got two motherfucking cold hoopers on your team and you just the third man, and you gotta get in the scrap points, you know what I'm saying? That's Mai, you know. So she was lethal, but she wasn't on those type of levels. But if it was a normal soldier, she'll body him real quick. But if you threw somebody
when we're talking about characters, you know, obviously they can beat the normal people, but I'm talking about when it's time to start getting into the real stuff.
She could beat a Kyoshi warrior.
Could she?
She couldn't be Suki, but she could
beat
Suki.
I'm sorry. I will give you the conversation. Had that conversation with Tali. Might beat no Suki. That ain't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I know anybody who was worthwhile that might beat. But it's okay. I'll say this: it's hard because Ty Lee and Azula was so bloodthirsty. Like they was, if there was ever a group that they went against, Ty Lee and Azula were on their asses. So it's like we never really even saw Mai get a chance to be vicious because them two girls are taking out the whole squad already.
Well, I'll give you this because Ghost did say in the chat, Ma nailed Aang from over 30 feet away with knives. It's like, I'm not saying she's not skilled.
Yeah, but why did she do it? 30 feet away, she nailed Aang. I'm pretty sure Aang was fighting either Azula or Ty Lee.
Again.
And so he's distracted. So yeah,
we're not saying these people aren't skilled. That's a good skill, but you ain't beating Suki.
It's like she's an archer, you know what I'm saying? She back in the cut, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, she ain't beating. If she even thought about fighting Suki would knock the dog shit out of her. It wouldn't even be close. But you know, she was also Zuko's love interest, you know, so it was part of his redemption arc.
Facts.
It was part of hers too, because she finally stood up to Azula and paid for it, but that's where it is.
And the comic book's bogus because you know they don't even end up together.
I know they don't.
I was like, damn. I was like, is she from a noble family? But you know, they was young and shit. How many of us are still with the person we was with in high school? So,
hey, look. Plus,
that's
look. Zuko got options.
Zuko got options. Fire Lord Zuko got options. You know,
he got options. So I mean, look. I'm like, I'm gonna tell you. But I do want to go ahead and play our weekly game here. Believe it or not, this is not one has to go. You know, people like to get on me whenever we play that one.
This is the week we don't do it?
We're not, this is the week we're not doing it.
Wow.
But this week we are staying on Avatar, and it's one that we've done once before. So we're going to go with agree or disagree. And I want to put up some scenarios, and I want to see, Venture, if you really personally agree. Of course, plot's always going to win at the end of the day, but we're talking about personal opinions here on what you agree or disagree with. So I want to go ahead and get started with the first one. As I've got to move this out of the way. All right. Agree or disagree with the ultimate decision of Aang not killing Ozai?
Oh, I totally don't agree with that shit. Now, Aang did learn how to take away bending, but Ozai to me was still a threat even without bending. You know what I'm saying? The dude could fight and he's still royal blood in the Fire Nation. He's never gonna stop trying to kill you. He's never gonna stop trying to like start the war back. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bloodthirsty because I was in the military, but no, he would have been the first example what happens if you don't do what the Avatar tells you to do. He would have been the first example. Like, look, I don't want to have to kill anybody. But you know what? You know what? I don't agree with it, but I do understand exactly why Aang did it because Aang was a monk. You know what I'm saying? He was Air Kingdom, Air Nomad, but he was a monk. So I totally get why Aang wouldn't choose the option of killing somebody. But I'm like, Yoshi.
Aang was ready to catch
you know what?
Look, Aang was ready to catch a body when they stole Appa.
He was. That was the first time we saw Aang pissed and irritated because he was ready to slap Sokka and Katara. He was so mad. I was like, bruh, I'm scared of Aang right now. He was so mad, bruh. He was looking like, why are we going to Appa? Well, Aang, we've been tired. We've been traveling all day. Well, Appa couldn't travel all day. He was just so mad, bro. He had such an attitude. I was like, yo, I don't like this version of Aang.
I was saying, even mad at freaking Toph, but Toph had a decision she had to make: save Appa, save her friends. She couldn't do
like,
both.
yo,
I couldn't do both.
Yeah. She was on sand too. She was definitely out of her element right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but Aang was pissed.
That's what I said. For somebody that said he don't want to kill, had they not given the answers he was looking for when he was looking for his bison, I don't know what he would have done. We seen he didn't have a problem injuring those people. Boom! Where's Appa?
And you know what? I think UA did it. She was the air avatar. She killed people. Now that I think about it, in her book, yeah, she was the one who she killed everybody in the room. She took all the air out the room and killed everybody. Yeah, so she was definitely about that life. You know.
And then we already know some of them other past avatars, especially Avatar Kyoshi.
You know, like
Kyoshi was like, man, look, when he was seeking advice on what to do, I was like, Kyoshi's like, why are we even having this conversation?
Yeah, Kyoshi's like, why is this a problem, nigga? Kill him. What are you talking about? Why are you asking me about this? He was like, that's not the same thing. He fell. That's why he died. She was like, nigga, I don't see a difference. Is he alive? Is he alive? He fell off the cliff. Is he alive? No, he's not. Don't. Kyoshi was pissed. Kyoshi like, nigga, give me the Avatar badge back. You're not gonna be the Avatar no more.
The same one where they were trying to prove her innocence, talking about Kyoshi. Avatar Kyoshi would have never done something like that, and had that whole cross. She finally comes out. Yeah, I did it.
Kyoshi wouldn't have gave a fuck. Like Kyoshi would have been on that shit. Like, look, if you don't like what I did, come beat me then. She was on that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
heavy on that.
My favorite Avatar. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I stand with Kyoshi. She did nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for real.
Nothing wrong.
So
look how peaceful it was.
Yeah, I mean, she lived what till like 120 or something, 130. Yeah, she lived till well over her hundreds. So shit, there was a lot of peace because wasn't nobody gonna try Kyoshi. They was like, look, I don't want no smoke with the Avatar.
All right, let's get into Ghost real quick. He says in the chat about Aang not killing Ozai. He said, here's the thing. Number one, Ozai values strength above all else, especially with bending. It shatters Ozai's identity and belief system to take his bending. And number two, Aang is the last airbender. He has all of the monk traditions and values. Killing Ozai is letting the Fire Nation win and getting rid of the air nomads by making him betray that.
I mean, I can see that point of view, but see, at the same time, we have to think about real world values, right? So Ozai is a figurehead. So it's easy to say like, oh, well, that broke and shattered Ozai's identity. But there's still other noble nations and noble families in the Fire Nation. You just need Ozai to be alive to start a rebellion. he could be a puppet after that to start a rebellion. You know what I'm saying? You need Ozai out the way so Zuko can take control and be Fire Lord, and then reel all the rest of the noble families in. You know, so it's easy to think that like, oh, just removing Ozai in that manner would work, but it's
Ozai
not
was like his
always
damn
that
daddy.
easy.
And you see how his daddy was. It was like, nah, I'm gonna rule all of this, and I'm taking all this. Oh, you don't agree with what I got going on? You know what? Fine. I don't think we can talk anymore. Hey, Avatar, you need help on that mount? Nah, I'm good. You can stay there and die. Like, look, it didn't take any bending to leave his friend to stay there and die. Like, look, if you're a dangerous person, you find a way to be dangerous.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, you know. So, like, I do understand what you're saying. I mean, yeah, it could check out, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to even risk it. Like, if you look at what Roku did wrong, was Roku never checked fully. Fire Lord, was his name Azulan?
Which Fire Lord?
The one that was around when Roku first, became Avatar.
Oh,
The
okay,
one that
yeah.
was like, yeah. So he never fully checked Azulan. Like he would get in Azulan's face, he would embarrass him, all that shit. But he never fully checked Azulan, and Azulan ends up starting the war. He kept going at it. And it wasn't because he could bend, it was because he kept sending in troops to do it, even before Roku died. So that could tell you the resolve of like these Fire Lords. They don't give a fuck, you know.
They don't, which is again why the Fire Nation, Team Fire Nation, which is why I'm like, Tali's not from the Fire Nation. People come at me like that all the time, but there's nothing about her that screams that kingdom. You can say the
I
same
would
thing.
think maybe she was water. Maybe she was, but she's too light. She's just too light for the water tribe.
Her eyes say she might be air, to be honest with you, but because she's got those big eyes. But
Yeah, no, you're all right. You're all right. She does got the big eyes.
You could say, well, Iroh's pretty peaceful. Yeah, Iroh wasn't always peaceful.
Iroh was a fucking warmonger. Like, I love Iroh to death, but dude was a warmonger. Like, before his son died.
Before his son died?
Yo, that dude was literally fucking massacring villages.
Let's talk about what Iroh did in Ba Sing Se back in the day.
You know what I'm saying? He was the first person to crack the wall. Man. He would have definitely like taken over and killed majority of the earthbenders in the Earth Kingdom had it not been for his son dying. His son dying kind of changed his outlook on war and conquering people.
And Go says Aang was already frozen by the time Azulan took the throne. Yeah, we know that because Aang was already frozen when they decided, the next Avatar is going to come from the. You know what? They all got to go. Every last one of them. And luckily, Aang at that point then already ran away and got frozen, so he didn't get caught up in any of that. And he just had to come back a century later and realize almost everybody he had ever known was gone because obviously, like Boomy was still around.
Yeah,
but but for the most part, everybody was gone. All right. We kind of touched on this a little earlier, but we're going to stay on the killing side because why not? Agree or disagree with this one, Venture? Katara not avenging her mom.
Yeah, he would have had to go. Like, Katara was a kid, but I saw you kill my mother. Like, no, I saw you kill my mother while she lied, protecting me because I was the one with bending. Nah, you gotta go. You gotta go. I gotta avenge my mother. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to be a killer, but don't push me. And you kill my mother. So I'm pushed. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the one goal in life I definitely had to do. Save the world and avenge my mother. One of them's happening tonight. I would have killed her. Yeah.
And she was all about it at first, because at first she literally went back on her word and started bloodbending again. Up until he got to him and realized, you know what? You're old and weak and pathetic. And you really just tried to offer me to kill your mom to make this up.
Like, I didn't think it was gonna be that type of situation where it was like he was such a punk. But Jesus Christ, it was like this dude's such a bitch.
You're not worth. Everybody was like, "You killed my mom for them make us even." Like, damn.
Yeah, I would have had to do something. He had to lose an arm or something. Something's going.
Like, what?
I probably would have just killed him, but something would have happened. It would have been like, look, maybe I gotta just blind you or something.
Like, look, man, I ain't gonna kill you, but you'll never walk again.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta pay for what you did to my mama. Nah, he's dying. He's toast. I'm avenging my mama. The ancestors, they're not gonna be cool.
Jasirii, you agree?
1,000%.
It's like,
I ain't gonna front. No matter how coochie you is, you can still go disappearing. I'm sorry.
You kill my mother in front of me. Like, there's no way.
Happen.
My mental is never gonna be the same.
Yeah, never. Like, it'd be one thing, you kill my mother and I got a letter in the mail saying my mother died during war. But I watched you kill my mother while she was saving me from you. You was gonna kill me.
Yeah, I was next.
No, you gotta go. You gotta go.
I lost something, you losing something.
And just because you're old and pathetic now, like, yeah, she's got a good heart, whatever. But you know, it wasn't until she went up and seen him and was like, just like, I can't. This ain't worth it.
Like, you that pathetic. I would have took his foot or something. Let you live with some type of scar.
Yeah, you gotta die. Like, yeah.
Although that also goes to show you how fast Katara can change her loyalties, because the whole thing about Zuko was, look, you done burned me once. I ain't never trusting you again. Hey, I can show you who killed your mama. We cool now.
I mean, they have bigger fish to fry.
She gave Zuko so many chances. I mean, she was about to use the sacred water to heal his face.
Look, Ghost says agree because that's her decision. Me personally would have been a body. Also because he was a different guy by the time she found him. Thematically, they found the wrong shit first to foreshadow it. It's like, look, and that's when you start getting into like this very dicey conversation about if a person does wrong back in the day, but then they redeem themselves, does that mean nothing should happen to them now?
Nah, see, like, this is how I look at it. I'm not killing you for the person you are now. You have a debt that needs to be paid. You killed my mother. What you do now has nothing to do with how you killed my mother. You killed my mother, and I watched it. There's a debt that needs to be paid. This is Kill Bill. Shit, what, Vivica Fox? She was a housewife. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't bothering nobody. Do you think old girl from Kill Bill was like, man, I'm not gonna kill you, got a daughter, you a housewife now? No, she fucking had to kill her ass because you got a debt. You're not gonna kill my family and not pay for it.
Look, I don't care what you do me someday, I understand.
Yeah, like I get, you know what I'm saying, that he's weak and all that stuff, but that's the now. I don't even care about that stuff. We talking about what you did to my mother when she was alive.
Yeah, because now you're a weak, empathetic person who's responsible for my mom not being here anymore.
Yeah, that's just karma getting you, but I gotta pay that debt that you did to my mama. You know.
Like, look, just because
that's why Vivica said you want to. I mean, Kill Bill. She was like, you want to play Even Stevens? You know what I'm saying? That's me killing your whole family. Shit, Katara, really, me killing your mama in front of you would be Even Stevens. You know.
And someone who might know me might jump on me and talk about like hypocrite, because you know I'm the type of person that says in real life I don't wish death on anybody regardless of what they do. I would rather them just be locked up than whatever. But this guy's not even locked up anywhere. He's just out and living his life,
still living like he was.
So like
benefits.
He just got to live the rest of his life being able to get away with it at this point because he decided, you know what? You ain't worth it.
Y'all see that movie Saving Private Ryan?
It's been a while, but yes.
Remember how many times they let the German dude go? And this dude just kept coming back, killing more of them on their team, more of them on their team, more of them on their team. And they let this motherfucker go because they was like, oh, he not a threat because he don't got his gun no more. He just went back and got another gun and came back and wiped out like 4 of them. Like,
that's what we said. Evil people
sometimes,
will find a way to be evil.
yeah, you got like that's just how it is. Like that dude. What if during the comet or what was it? During the eclipse? What if during the comet or during the eclipse he had done something to kill somebody attacking Fire Nation? Then it would have been on Qatar. Well, why didn't you kill this dude when you had the chance? He killed like 2 of our people.
The second you let that's the struggle that you deal with, because it's like the second you decide to let somebody go, from that point forward, anybody whose life they take is now on you.
And dude is a killer. Like he might be old and weak, but that don't mean he can't stab somebody still. That don't mean he can't kill people still. And if he was put back in a military unit because they were under attack, he would have rank. So he could tell someone else to go kill for him.
And he's clearly a bitch because he was willing to let his mother die just to save himself.
So yeah, you know, I don't know.
For that
man.
alone, it'd be like, bro, you just tried to give up your mother. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
weak.
yeah.
Like,
I gotta kill you for my mother and your mother.
Like, how many more people gotta go just for you to think this is even? Like that's crazy.
Right.
But I
so
will
that's
say,
the thing, you know.
and I said we touched on this one earlier, so I think I might know where you're leaning. But the third one that we're gonna do, agree or disagree, for Avatar: The Last Airbender, Katara ending up with Aang.
I gotta disagree with it, man. I gotta disagree with it. Like, okay, you know what? I'll take that back. I'll agree with it. But the only reason I'm agreeing with it is because Zuko chose to be with Mai. If Zuko didn't choose to be with Mai and Jet was still alive, Katara would have easily got one of them two before Aang. But since Jet is dead and since Zuko chose Mai, that means Katara didn't have nobody trying to win her affections, and Aang could have made a move. That's the only reason I agree to it.
Yeah, she liked them bad boys. So Lord knows,
She completely forgot about Aang when Jet was there. When her and Zuko was getting close and Aang kissed her, she was all out of place. She was like, "Why are you kissing me?" You know what I'm saying? She looked like crazy. Like, why this nigga kiss me? So yeah, she was not until he saved the world. Now, of course, after he saves the world, that's a hard job to follow up against. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
and of
course they had their will, they want their moments as they were going on. Yeah. You know, the moment where they thought they had to kiss, and they both kind of like, and Aang with his clueless ass, so I would never kiss you.
Yeah, Aang, you know, he had to get in touch with his feelings, man.
Now to be to be fair, Aang is young. Like he's really young. He's the youngest Avatar. Like they had to tell him that he was the next Avatar like years before he would normally do that.
Yeah, because they like the Fire Nation coming.
It's like, man, don't we have to wait a few more years? Like, we ain't got a few more years.
Yeah, we don't got years, bro. Like you gotta start training now. But yeah, so but I don't like what Korra did with their family dynamic. Because they said Aang wasn't around the other two kids and he just took Tenzin with them all the time. So I'm like, so Aang kind of became a deadbeat to the other two kids. I was like, Katara let that go down. The same Katara that was complaining all the time about any and everything let that go down.
Everything. Yeah. She was basically their mom.
Yeah. I'm like, I do not see her letting Aang not spend time with the other kids. Like, no.
Exactly.
At the very least, the other kids would have knew how to fight. Something. Like they would have had unbelievable hands.
Like you know, they automatically hand that shit down.
Right. So that's why I didn't understand like Korra's dynamic with how they did Aang and Katara's family. Like I was just like, what? Like that doesn't sound like them, but
I mean, at that point, you didn't already had the kids. Now, I guess did they stay together up until Aang died?
Yeah, they was up together till Aang died.
Yeah. By title, or did they truly love each other?
Right. That's
That's
good
what
point.
I'm saying. Like by title, maybe. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
When they're sleeping in separate houses, they had a big old mansion. So
I'm just saying, when things didn't work out with Zuko, did he call Katara up? Like, I don't know what's going on.
yeah, I don't know, man. Cause Zuko don't end up with mine. He had married somebody else.
Yeah, he had to go find him somebody else. And I mean, yeah, in the books, they go real deep into their relationship too. Like, you know, like what led to it. And like I said, finding out what happened to Azula's crazy ass. Because Lord knows when her friends betrayed her, she didn't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah. But you know, her prison guard was Ty Lee. That was her prison guard. So Ty Lee wanted to stay close to her. They probably did that too, because they're like, look, you're the only person who could potentially take her if she tries to break out.
Yeah, that too. It's like, look,
yeah,
when I say she went insane, and that's another thing you got to think of too. You know, when you think about her fighting Zuko at the end, and you know, Katara being able to beat her and everything, you got to understand this is a crazed Azula whose mind is not right.
Right.
How would a focused Azula have handled that battle?
If it was normal Azula, focused Azula, I don't think Zuko could have beat her. But I think since her head was fucked up at the time, Zuko peeped game, and Zuko was like, okay, I could get her. But if she was on her A game, nah.
I think it still would have been close just because at that point he does know his sister. You know, he had learned a few things. But like I said, she was crazy to the point where she's like, yeah, I can't beat this guy. You know what? If I can't beat him, I'm just going to go after her instead.
Yeah, that was wild. She turned and looked. I was like, oh, shit.
Because she's evil, and that's what evil people do. They do bitch moves. I can't beat you, so you know what? Yeah.
I'm just going to shock this bitch. I was like, but you know, that's how Zula get down, man. She'll do the low blow. But you know what? And Katara beating her, I thought Katara, she definitely stepped it up. Because I was wondering, I was like, damn, Katara, how you going to beat her without blood bending? But Katara definitely shocked her.
Katara has leveled up throughout that series, though, too. Like, she also got stronger and stronger. And, you know, she was able to have the training. Plus, she also learned a lot just through training Aang and just everything, like experiences and stuff. She went through a lot.
Yeah.
100%.
Especially to start from the bottom, because we watched when she first was trying to even do water right. She wasn't even able to do it right, you know. So to watch her
playing around with it, it's like, yeah.
So,
that's why she want that training, though. And let's see, Zuko basically says that he got the mental nerve, he got the dragon buff.
yeah. When he did the dance with the dragons, man, that was a different Zuko.
Oh no! At that point, his entire potential had been untapped.
Yeah,
something Aang could have got a long time ago, but they told him, yeah, if we do this, you're gonna have to forget about Katara. They're like, nah, bro.
Yeah. You're gonna have to chill on that, like, I'm in love with Katara shit. Like, this is straight focus.
Like, we know we trying to groom you to save the world, and you don't want to level up for a bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you know what though? Avatar did a good job. I forgot the horror aspect, like with Ko. That was one of my favorites. I actually wanted to cosplay Ko a few years back. I just never ended up doing it. But yeah, Ko, that was one of my favorite episodes, man. That brought horror to Avatar. I was like, damn. I was like, Aang talked a lot too. I was like, damn, Aang.
That's the thing. Aang didn't get angry often, but when he did, you know he meant business. And that is just the crazy thing. I will say that because we haven't really talked much anime here yet, and we're starting to near the end of everything. So I wanted to get into your love for Soul Eater.
Oh yeah, Soul Eater, man. That whole system I thought was dope. Like from the beginning, because I didn't read the manga until I started the anime.
And they're different. So, they're completely different.
They're way
we're focusing on the anime here tonight.
When I saw that first, okay, so I actually fell for Soul's trick at the beginning of the first episode when he looked like he was about to betray Maki for Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was about to happen. I was like, yo, I don't think I've ever seen an anime where like the one of the protagonists betrays the other protagonist at the first episode.
Right,
I was
but
like,
because it's
damn.
episode one, especially if you didn't read anything about like the premise or
Right.
anything, you don't know how they're setting up their story.
Right,
I kind of thought
right,
the same thing, like what's happening here?
right. So I thought he was betraying her. I was like, oh shit. And when he walked over to the side of Blair Witch, I was like, damn. I was like, are they about to kill her? So yeah, they almost had me with that shit. But then, of course, he was just tricking Blair Witch anyway. But yeah, I thought that Soul Eater really didn't have any problems. I thought it was amazing. Like one of my favorite fights in anime is the fight with Death versus the Kenshin, that first fight, you know. And because they had never shown, you just heard the stories. They're talking about how cold Death was, so you never really knew. And then when they showed him in the Kenshin fight, I was like, okay, this is why everybody's so shook of Death. And then when you find out later that the Kenshin was actually Death's kid, it was like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is why he was able to beat him. I was like, all right, I get it.
Well, yeah, and that was my thing because I absolutely love Soul Eater. Although I will say that when I remember when I originally watched it back in the day, and you hear the premise of Soul Eater, it's like, well, what's this about? And like you say, you go to that first episode where it's like they got to eat those 100 souls, and then they got to get this witch, and then you see that doesn't end up happening. So then it's like they got to start all over.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right, okay, so this is gonna be the story of them getting back to eating 100 souls, and maybe getting that witch, and becoming the Death Site, and that's what this show is gonna be about. And it's like, no, like, look, we literally got a Soul Eater, and we got someone there that's literally a weapon, literally called Soul, and the show's not even about him.
Nope.
And they don't really ever eat souls in that series. Like every once in a while they do, but it's like this show is not about its title. Like it's just it's there. It happens in the background from time to time, but watching Soul Eater is getting halfway through it and realizing this is Maka's story. This is
definitely Maka's story. Yeah. And Death is a kid. He's a cold character. Black Star had me cracking up.
Yo,
like the whole time. I liked
talk about somebody having to learn a lot as that went on. Black Star.
Yeah, Black Star, yeah. And I feel like if they had the show, because it seemed like the show kind of got rushed at the end. But if it was like another season, I think they would have fleshed out Black Star and his family. Because they never really talked about that whole like Black Star clan. And I really want to hear more about that clan.
Especially when they started talking about it, why he didn't want to deal with Black Star and stuff. It's like, you come from that family. And it's like,
yeah, you come from that family of killers. I was like, wait, what's this about?
But again, the anime and the manga went in different directions, especially for the ending. Yeah. So, but yeah, there was a couple of things that they could have did. But no, even in the anime, Black Star, he had to learn a lot. He had to get stronger. I would say he had to humble himself, but not really.
Yeah. he tried to, but Black Star, that wasn't his style. You know what I'm saying? He loved talking shit.
Every once in a while he gets sad about maybe because he lost the fight, but then the next time you see him, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat God one day. So
I remember when they was in the classroom trying to cheat on the exam, and the zombie dude called him and he tied him up to the chalkboard.
Yeah.
And he was like, Soul, and Soul didn't study, so Soul was trying to look because he thought Black Star was gonna put the answers on the board, and all he did was draw a star. I was like, bro, they silly, boy. And then Excalibur, that whole deal, I was like, this annoying little motherfucker.
Oh my God. But no, Black Star definitely had that Goku energy in a way where if you were gonna try to tell him that somebody out there was strong, it's like Dr. Kid came to school, like, oh, he's supposed to be what? You know what? Come run them hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because he tried to step to old boy who got Excalibur.
Yeah.
And got lumped up. I was like, don't do it, Black Star. Don't do it. He got Excalibur now.
Oh Lord, Excalibur as a character, period. Those Excalibur episodes were interesting to say the best. Say the least.
Because when I saw, like I said, when I saw the tie-in with Fire Force, I was like, wait. I was like, that's Excalibur? I was like, oh. Out of all the things to tie this shit together, this little motherfucker's in it.
Oh! Oh, dog goes singing the Excalibur song. And it's like, man, by the end, that man was like, I don't even want this damn Excalibur.
Right. Everybody, after like a week, they're like, you know what, forget this shit.
You know, man, can we go put him back, please? Because you know,
like, yeah, I don't even want to be OP no more. Just put this back.
Have to, with everything they realized they were gonna have to deal with having him around. It's like, it ain't worth it.
Yeah, because every day you gotta redo everything that you did to get him, which is already outlandish as hell. Mm-hmm. So you gotta redo all that shit every day. I'm like, nah, bro, never.
Absolutely not. But now it's like, and then of course we know that Jasirii is wearing the Death to Kid pants. Again, courtesy of Kiki's attire. Shout out to Kiki Chia out here. It's just my only thing. Like, I enjoy Death to Kid as much as the next person. He had his comic relief, but and he's strong. But I ain't putting him on my team if I'm building a team. I'm not doing it because, man, all you gotta do is tell that man that, hey, look, man, there's a string on one side of your suit just popped out that ain't matching the other side. He's going home.
Yeah. If you tell him some shit is uneven, like, look, my car, half of it is down here, he gonna bounce and try to fix it. Or he gonna be so distracted, like
like, I ain't got time for that. If I'm putting a team together. I like him though. Like that's the only thing. So out of everybody in Soul Eater, because we've seen a lot of them grow over time, who would you say had the most growth in the series?
I would say probably Maki, because Maki used to get on my fucking nerves. At the beginning of the series, she got on my nerves. Then later, she started like growing on me, you know, because she started getting more serious. She wasn't so critical of everybody else, so she started growing on me. But at first, I was like, oh man, I was like, I hope she's not the main character. Then she ended up being the main character. I was like,
even though it's called Soul Eater, nope, it was about her.
Right.
Like, for most people that has what they feel about their shonen animes, it's like you're halfway through. It's like, surprise, you've been watching the show where the main protagonist is a woman the whole time. I hope you enjoy it.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. But she, I mean, like I said, she grew on me. Yeah, and then her relationship with her father got better finally.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was talking to him again. That was, you know,
that's something. Ghost says he thinks Krona. I don't agree with that, but I'll get to that in a moment. But
Krona was such a fucking plot device. Like, there's no reason why he should have been that cold when he first came in. And then after he turned good, it's completely nerfed. I was like, what?
Nico Robin.
I was like, this dude literally almost killed like all of them. But, and now he can't beat none of them. I was like,
it's not necessarily that he's nerfed. He just doesn't have that instinct to do what his mom wanted him to do anymore. So I guess that.
No, it's nerfed because just think his sword, old boy was all buff and big. Then he turned good and it was just a little version.
Well, that's because he didn't want to be good. He wanted to be a killer. And it's like, oh, you gonna be? Nah, I ain't with that.
I was like, dang, I was like, so he a plushie size?
Because he wasn't with all that good stuff. You know, if it wasn't for the fact that they gave him snacks, he wouldn't want to be there at all.
It's
like, screw. But the thing about Krona is, like you said, well, Maka had the hope where she was even willing to descend into madness at one point, you know, just so she can take Krona down, like completely went against orders. Y'all had a plan together, and y'all are going, and y'all running the Krona, and Black Star's like, yeah, let's. He's like, nah, you go on ahead. It's like, that's not the plan, Maka. I don't care. Yeah, this man almost killed, so I need my get back.
Yeah, Maka just wanted revenge.
Like the revenge, and like I said, not only did she want the revenge, she went into madness. She wanted the madness to consume her to have this fight. That's how bad she wanted this get back with Krona. And she went from being so bloodthirsty on her get back with Krona to that being like her best friend.
So did.
It's crazy. Now she's protecting him the most. But she went into madness. She saw his story, and all of a sudden you see how sad and troubled he is. And now all of a sudden it's, oh, I don't hate you.
Right.
Come back with us. We'll fix you. Only for, you know, Krona to end up being responsible for a lot of the shit happening after that. You know, I don't care if you felt bad about it. You did one thing, and you know, you let your mom get to you again, and Krona, you're the reason Stein completely went mad again.
No, totally it's his fault. Yeah, it's totally his fault. You know, Medusa, I mean, she don't really get her credit. She's probably one of the upper level villains in anime. Because Medusa, she had all of them fooled. Except for Stein, and then she had already put that thing inside of Stein. So I was like, damn, I was like, man, she was a step ahead of everybody.
Stein might not have been fooled, but she had her way of talking to him. So
Stein was ready to get with her, that's why.
Yeah, that's what that is. He was thinking with the wrong thing. Shot. That's what that was.
Yeah, she was wearing him down. She kept shooting her shot.
They just loud up to us like,
to go.
Like, yeah, so what you doing in here? Oh, nothing. You know, I'm just in here looking through things. Oh, okay, that's cool. By the way, you know I know what you're up to, right?
Right. You know I know you're a witch, right?
Well, now nobody's around. Let's just go ahead and put this out in the open. What we gonna do about this?
And she straight up told him, like, yeah, I am a witch, but you're not gonna do anything. And he was like, actually, I want to try to kill you, but you know.
But no, but that's why I said I can't say Krona had the most growth, only because I don't think Krona, he was never evil in the first place. He was just always,
he was just being told what to do, kind of.
Even when he was, you know, this was what he knows, and he was doing what his mom wanted him to do. You saw his personality was always that. It was like a bumbling, innocent, you know, anxiety-ridden, shy. Like, he was all of that even when he was trying to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't really have much growth because he was just following orders pretty much.
You know, he's literally just somebody that went from following this person to following this person. Like, nothing really changed other than the fact that his weapon was like, yeah, I ain't with this.
Yeah. As far as growth, yeah, the only person I can think of is Maka. I would say Black Star, but Black Star really didn't change. He got better as a fighter, but he didn't really change too much of his behavior. Because he still acted as crazy as could be.
Even though he did, after he lost a couple of fights, it was starting to get to him a little bit. But like I said, like versus what Mako went through, everything, like her relationship with Soul and her willing to go into madness, her completely saving the day at the end due to plot.
That was definitely plot. That was totally plot. Like, she should not have been able to beat the Kenshin. That was power of friendship. That was power of friendship.
That was power of friendship. And they basically all saying that because first of all, she literally finally gets the weapon, and then it doesn't work. Like, we've been building up to this. It's like not only is it not the genie thing, you go beyond the genie, and it doesn't work. And then you have them down, and it's like, you're down, and this is over. And then the others just start waking up like, you just don't get it, do you? You haven't beaten her. You know why you haven't beaten her? Because of plot and the power of friendship. Get up, basically.
For real. No, you ain't lying. Shoot.
No, I'm saying he gets up and he's now afraid because she's showing courage.
I was like, what? I was like, come on, man.
Like, he's shook now. It's like, what the?
I was like, bro, you've been going up against the worst of the worst on both sides. And now all of a sudden you're spooked because she's not afraid? Like, huh?
Like, I've always been one of those people that's team, because when people always say plot armor, it's like, well, you got to understand, these are still stories that are being told. These are fantasy stories. Yes, people are going to get upgrades in certain situations to unlock something. But that ended the Soul Eaters bullshit.
No, that's real talk. I hate to blame plot armor, but that was power friendship plot armor. You know,
Like those said
there's
in the
no way
chat,
she
the
could
plot was
be
Maka being a weapon and Meister, yet ordinary punch was the most powerful attack.
Is she half and half or
Really?
something?
Yeah, when people talk about the power of friendship, they need to start throwing Soul Eater in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Soul Eater definitely that finale.
Like I said, the manga does it differently, but the anime, yes, absolutely. So, scenario, if you were in Soul Eater yourself, and I'm asking this to both of y'all, would you want to be a weapon or a Meister?
I probably would want to be a weapon because the Meisters don't always have abilities. Like, old boy that Black Star was always fighting. The one with all the swords.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, they ran it back like 3 times.
Yeah, but he ain't had no abilities though. But I can only imagine how cold he would have been had he had those abilities with his sword techniques.
I mean, heck, Black Star couldn't take him.
Yeah,
really?
Black Star couldn't fuck with him. Yeah, the only person
he
who was able to go.
He technically won that one, but I mean, he was protecting somebody.
Yeah. And yeah, Black Star got him with that little ninjutsu. You know what I'm saying? But the only person that was able to get him was the zombie teacher. That was the only one, and that's because he didn't know the zombie teacher couldn't die because he stabbed that nigga in the head.
Oh, Sid?
Yeah, he stabbed him directly in the head, so he thought he had him, but that zombie nigga can't die. It don't matter where you stab him. So that's how he managed to fuck up old boy. I think his name is Mifumi or something. I can't remember, but yeah, that's how he got him because the zombie teacher, he stabbed him in the head and he was like, "Oh, okay, he's dead." And then that nigga popped up and slashed him with the fucking knife. I was like, "Yeah, it ain't that easy to kill, dude." And he was black too. He a lot of people forget he's actually a black character, the zombie dude.
Sid, yeah.
Yes.
He got cornrows. Yeah, Sid, yeah.
He was like, plus you remembered him before he was a zombie. They showed him like in one
right,
episode.
They showed him, yeah.
Same answer for you, Jasirii, weapon or Meister. What would you want to be?
I'll be Meister. I'm not going front. Listen, when it comes to wheeling and dealing damage, I'd rather be a leader than anything else, so I know how to use them.
No, that'll be cold. But remember, it was two weapons that were able to fight without anybody's help. Old girl with the eye patch and that evil dude who had like the chainsaw type weapon because he would always transform his arm into like a chainsaw and shit.
Yeah, but
especially when you become a death sight, you're pretty much good. But look what all you have to go through in order for that to be a thing.
But you still can't reach your full potential unless you have a Meister.
No, that's true. That's true. Because you need that Meister, that union to bring it out.
And then you can run away with the union or you can keep on building it.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me follow up on that. Since you would go weapon and you would go Meister, Venture, if you're going to be a weapon, who would you want your Meister to be?
Who?
Yes.
Damn. Death. Yeah, Death was a beast, man. So yeah. I feel like he'll be a dope Meister. Like
Mr. Symmetrical himself.
Because Death, he didn't have to do all that bullshit neither. He already had 100 souls and stuff and killed a couple of witches. So he didn't have to do all that.
One look in the mirror, he might abandon you and go home, though.
Yeah. Death was a character, man.
Nah, I like Death. Like I said, I like his character. Like I said, I got my Death the Kid outfit. With the shirt and all of that stuff, and I absolutely love it. I got some other stuff for when it started getting cold outside. I went ahead and bought it now before they jacked up prices. So when it gets cold outside, me and Death the Kid's gonna be representing out here. But I did your series since you went Meister. What weapon would you want?
I'm not gonna front. Krillix gauntlets, the 2 girls, they was heavy.
Oh, the boxing gloves, the giant gloves, the giant joints. Yeah. So, I actually thought about cosplaying him way back when I first started cosplaying.
Yeah, I got cheated out of somebody making my goddamn gauntlets. But
Oh,
I learned my
damn.
lesson. So, because it's either them or Death to Kids. Patty
Right
and
back to Death the Kid.
Patty or Patty. What's the other's name? What's the other one's name?
I forgot.
Man,
The
I'm
two
mad that you
guns.
said that. It was on my mind until you just said that, and then I lost it.
But yeah, it will be between those two. I'm not going front. I like dual wielding.
I get it. Although I do want to go ahead and just give a shout out and some love to Tsubaki because she went through a lot too.
And she's an OP weapon.
Because her brother died, right? Well, her brother was crazy, and she had to kill him, right?
Yeah, Tsubaki. Yeah, she had to have that fight with him. Like Tsubaki went through a lot.
Yeah.
She also had to put up with a lot because Black Star was
right.
their Meister. So,
and then she had to deal with Black Star, so I know that wasn't easy.
At all.
Man, they flat out asked her a lot. Like, why do you put up with this man? And like, because he believes in me. Like, that's literally what the answer.
No, he straight up did too. He straight up respected her. He thought she could be cold, and she did become cold. But I also think she was also a katana, and so he wanted that katana.
That too.
I was saying, didn't she have like three different forms?
Yeah, she had multiple forms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had different.
Because she had the little version of the katana. Yeah.
Then with the ball and chain.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. But and I think that's what I would do because I wouldn't mind having a katana. Like if I was there, my personal answer was I think I probably would want Tsubaki and I would be a Meister. She would be my weapon because I've seen her like especially with the thing that she had to do with her brother and everything.
Yeah.
I was just like she's very powerful and she's very caring. She can obviously put up with a lot, and she's gonna believe in you just as much.
Yeah, and that was a good balance because I don't think Black Star would have gotten along with any other weapon like that. She actually believed in him.
What was it that time that Black Star and Soul tried to do something together?
Yeah,
they could not merge at all.
No, Soul was
Black
like,
Star is Excalibur. Black Star is the equal to Excalibur.
Right. Shit, because Soul was like, look, we cool on the outside, but we cannot. You ain't gonna be my Meister, bro.
We can't work together. And that was actually another thing about Soul Eater, because like I said, as you kept watching it, you said from the first episode, it was like, is he really gonna turn on her from episode 1? And it's like, is the show about him? Is it about her? One thing I did like that a lot of shows don't do enough of is they literally spent the first 3 episodes introducing you to every team.
Right.
Like the first episode did have Soul and Maka, and then I think the second episode was all about Black Star and Tsubaki, and then the third episode was completely about Death and Kid, Liz and Patty. And then they brought the story in. It's like, okay, now that we've given them all, now you know who they are.
Right.
Now let's go ahead and get into the story. But it was the same thing as it went on because then it had you thinking about going in one direction because it had you thinking, okay, what is Death really up to with this school?
Yeah.
It's like, he was starting to look shady there for a while, keeping all these secrets.
Yeah, he was definitely keeping secrets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't know what the fuck. Because he didn't tell nobody shit neither. So it was like everybody was in the dark. And it was like, well, who is the Kenshin? And then he wouldn't talk about that. And then when Death the Kid started realizing, like,
he started asking questions.
Yeah, he was like, wait a minute, like you ain't telling us everything, Dad. So
we gotta go get Brood, the weapon. It's like, well, why do we? What does this mean? What is this even about? Yeah,
right.
I built this school brick by brick. Y'all not ruining this for me.
So for a while now, I was like, they're not gonna have him end up being super sketchy, are they? And then when he actually finally started explaining shit, it was like, oh, okay. But you still could have told somebody.
That makes sense.
That man was cool. Like, because usually when they do that, you find out they're up to some shadiness. But for him, it turned out not really. It's like, okay, so you're just keeping secrets for the sake of keeping secrets.
Right. I'm like, so you're not even doing nothing that's bad. I was like, so why didn't you tell people? Like,
He's
what?
like, what was his name? Because I'm just that strong. Who gonna check me?
Yeah, couldn't nobody fuck with him. It was like, can you beat me though? Can you
No,
beat
not
me though?
that's the thing. Death was that dude for a reason. He's Death. He's literally Death.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
this is the same man who changes his voice so he doesn't scare anybody anymore.
And his mask.
And his mask, like he completely changed who he is because I need to look more friendly to
Right.
the people that I'm teaching. Because if I show y'all the real me,
they was like he had to go through some PR changes and he had to switch up his mask. I was like, bruh, because his original mask looked dope to me, but they was like, yeah, it wasn't very kid friendly. And it showed him scaring the kids on accident. I was like, bruh.
like, yeah. To the point where your boy came out and saw Duff again for the first time. He's basically like, who are you and what is that really Death? Why you sounding like that? Why you look like this?
Right.
It's like the same Death I went against years ago.
Right. Because the show never really showed you Eben either, where the manga, they show how important Eben was and how he was like the strongest sorcerer, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was like the third faction. It was like the witches, then Death in his school, and then Eben and the sorcerers. But they never, put that in the anime.
No, if there was ever a show for those reasons alone that could ever use or redo, Soul Eater would be one of them, and maybe do a version that sticks to the manga.
Soul Eater Brotherhood or something.
Yeah, a Soul Eater Brotherhood or something, one that sticks to the manga. But no, man, we have actually, I'm actually calling it right there because I don't want to keep you too long. We are here toward the end of the podcast. We have made it. So the next question I have for you, Venture Bros, is how are you feeling tonight? Because we've been here for a minute just vibing out.
Hey, man, I'm feeling good, man. Hey, I love talking anime and shit. You know what I'm saying? Anime and cosplay is my favorite subjects, man. So, talking about it with y'all, hey, it's a good feeling.
And that's a good feeling. Like I said, we always love to know that the people that we have on are A, comfortable, B, having fun. And if there's anything we can do to help them out, that we're always going to do that. Because obviously, anyone we have on, we're going to want to have them back on at some point down the road.
Yes, sir.
Because as we definitely rise up for here for season 3. And I'm going to go ahead and take this time, as we do every week. It is time to talk about our 1,000 subscriber challenge. For anybody that may be tuning in this week for the very first time, we are trying to get this YouTube page to 1,000 subscribers, and we got a challenge going on right now by our little sis herself, the legendary Summer Drew, who said that if we can get this page to 1,000 subscribers by the end of July, she is going to put on her Emma Frost cosplay, and she is going to recreate the emote Jiggle and All from Marvel Rivals. And I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to see that, guys. I mean, that should be alone to let you know that you need to get us to 1,000, because we're less than 2 months. Like June will be over before you know it, and then all we'll have left is July. So y'all need to get on top of that. I'm gonna need y'all to tell y'all friends. I'm gonna need y'all to tell y'all enemies. I'm gonna need to tell y'all long lost cousins, relatives, especially you guys. If y'all want to see this cosplay, go out there, tell the cosplay community. If y'all want to see her in this cosplay, y'all know what to do. Cosplayers unite. Definitely come here. We will be sending out the links always. So again, cosplay challenge from Summer Drew. If we can get to 1,000, everybody needs to get on that. Plus, once we get to 1,000, we'll be able to start monetizing this podcast, and it would be greatly appreciated if we can start really seeing the fruits of our labor and everything that we're trying to bring to the community out there for everybody.
Hell yeah.
Well, with that being said, I'm gonna start with you, Jasirii. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Boom, you already know the vibes. Since folks not here, I'm just gonna do a little recommendation. On Netflix, I am rewatching Gundam Seed, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a blast from the past because the storyline and the amount of people getting taken out it was one of those throwbacks where I didn't know that I needed a refresher, and I'm glad that I clicked on it. It came up in my recommendations to rewatch it. Also, if you haven't seen Mashal is funny. Is a slice of life, I guess.
I mean,
it's comedy. It's comedy. You know what I mean? It's dramatic. So we like the dry drama. You feel me? If you haven't seen it, make sure you watch Fairin because it got robbed of the anime of the year. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, I love Solo Leveling, but Fairin did
Popular
it for
vote.
me.
Popular vote.
Popular,
Yeah,
popular.
yeah, definitely.
And Dandadan, the movie's coming out. So listen, if y'all haven't seen the movie, I'm gonna go see it this weekend. Um, I'm excited for that, and it's only been getting good reviews from what I'm hearing. So, um, other than that, yeah. Oh, To Be Hero X. To Be Hero X is fire. I'm not going to fart. I'm not gonna front. I'm only on episode 1. It's like one of those shows where it ranks you based off your power, based off the people that like you, and your power level boosts up. So like if you don't keep your crowd entertained, you become weak. But if you stay up there, it's like streaming heroes. Streaming Hero University 101. That's what I'm gonna call it. That show is fire.
Okay.
Absolutely hitting us in with the anime recommendations.
And
Yes,
you will
sir.
catch us all at Anime NYC. Lineups will come up soon. You know what I mean? So other than that, it's New York in the building. Make sure to go to my page and check out the bacon, egg, and cheese versus the chopped cheese debate. And that's it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk backstage about the anime NYC cosplays, by the way, because there's something I definitely want to say about that. But Cosplay King, Mr. Venture Bros, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
You know what I'm saying? I just appreciate y'all boys for having me on here. You know what I'm saying? It was a great time. I love talking to y'all about this stuff, you know. Juneteenth has been good. Shoot, let's see. Cosplay World coming up in July. August, we got Once Upon a Time Con. What else I got? I got the Alice in Wonderland tea dinner. That's also in August. Then Anime NYC is in August. Then September, I want to say Dragon Con. And I think that might be it for a while for me after Dragon Con. So, you know, but yeah,
I
man,
enjoy
it's gonna
Dragon
be
Con. I'm gonna go
back
back
to
one of these
back.
days.
Hey, I tell everybody, go to Dragon Con. You don't got to do all 5 days though. You can
No,
just do
I
Friday,
never
Saturday,
do all the
Sunday.
days. I usually never do that last day. I've been twice.
Okay.
I need to
Yeah,
make my way. I never
yeah,
been.
man. Dragon Con is it's a party, man, nonstop. But yeah, I tell everybody, yeah, just do like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or do
And
Friday,
look,
Saturday,
them
Sunday.
hotels, especially which is the Marriott, the one in the middle, like they do not sleep.
Yeah, that
They don't.
bar, the
It's
Hilton,
3 o'clock in the
definitely
morning.
24
They
hours.
are going.
Word? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they
that
they
bar
actually
down
do.
there,
They have
24
a
hours.
DJ in the middle of it at the top that just plays music all day and all night. I mean, I'm sure they swap out the DJs, but you know what I mean.
Because
Like
you
there's
go
always
upstairs to your room. If you're staying at a host hotel, you go upstairs to your room, take a nap, turn on the TV to the Dragon Con channel. You see what's going on, what's popping still. Go
yep,
downstairs, go ahead, chill with everybody. It's 24 hours, man. So it's
yeah.
like it
They
never
got a
stops.
Dragon Con TV, so you can actually just go upstairs and see what's going on,
Yeah.
and that can help you make your next move if you don't know about after parties.
No, for real word.
All right.
Dragon Con, man, that's where it's at, man. It's a beast though, if you try to do it all 5 days.
Yeah, because
That's a
Dragon
beast.
Con doesn't really have many after parties, connected to it. It's not like the other cons. Like I know one year Trap Sushi did something. That was the last year I went. They had a day party on one of the days. But normally Dragon Con's after stuff is really just more about the community. Like one of the hotels would usually do like a pool party. Like I said, everything at the Marriott, they usually have something going on. Usually you can just create your own after fun. And just like any other con, after 11 o'clock hit, a lot of those girls are going to go up there and switch into their late night outfits.
Yeah. Except Dragon Con, they're a little more skimpier, man.
Look, I always say this. I say this every time. I don't know if Dragon Con is not my favorite con, but Dragon Con has the best cosplays and the best outfits out of any con I've ever been to. And I've been twice, and I've been to other cons, and I can honestly say Dragon Con has the best cosplay / after hours outfits. Like when I talk about these girls don't give a damn after 11 o'clock. Like me and my nephew was walking through because the first year we stayed at the host hotel. The second year I had to stay down the street because the host hotels were full. But I'm going in and I'm just about to go upstairs to just get out of stuff, maybe not turn in, but just go up and rest. And I'm seeing girls like forget Skippy. There was this one girl that was walking around in a thong and pasties. That was it.
I mean, for real, like you will see it, and they walking around like it's nothing new, like it's not a big deal.
And it's not a big deal. I was going to say that. And there's a lot of them like that, and it's not a big deal.
It's crazy, man. I'm telling you, Dragon Con is a beast.
They usually have their what is it, the bunny party, usually like on the first night.
Thursday, the bunny hutch. Yeah,
the bunny hutch, yeah. They'll have a bunny hutch party where the girls are in their bunny outfits. And
and the dudes will be in the Hugh Hefner joints.
Yes.
Yeah, and man, I'm telling you.
And because it's more sci-fi based when it comes to cosplays, you'll see some anime cosplays, but you're gonna see a lot of like you said, Star Trek cosplay, Star Wars cosplay, stuff from
sci-fi and fantasy,
old school cartoons. Like I saw somebody walking around in that giant Gumby, and I felt like I was a kid again. Like, look,
I remember one time I went and they had a group of Ricks for Rick and Morty. They had like a full group of Ricks and shit.
Yo,
Dragon Con cosplays are different, bro. Like they really
because you know a lot of the people, man, that go to Dragon Con, they not going to multiple cons like us. They just going to Dragon Con. That's it. That's they one a year, so they planning out. Because when I first went, one of the ladies I met for the first time, she was from England. And she was telling me, she said she comes to America specifically for Dragon Con. She was just a Xena. She said about 3 months prior, she starts working out. And she said that she's building the cosplay all year long. You know what I'm saying? So by the time Dragon Con hit, they come in with stuff they've been working on all year. So Dragon they should be looking top notch.
Full of handcrafted cosplays. Full of them. I don't know how they do their cosplay contest because these people come to play. They do not mess around. You will talk to some old people, like you will see old people there. Now I'm not saying like ages or anything or whatever. Anyone can go, but we've been to other cons and you know people usually age out around like 45. You don't see much older than that. When you go to Dragon Con, you see people in their 60s and stuff. They're still dressing up. You'll talk to some people. I've had conversations with them in like the elevators and stuff. They're like, "Yeah, this is my 20th Dragon Con," and the Dragon Con's been going on for decades.
And you'll see a lot of people at the parade. That's not even like they ain't by no con badge, but everybody in the downtown Atlanta, they coming to the parade because the parade is just so popping. You know what I'm saying? You got like the Star Wars group, it'd be like 60 people. You got people from like X-Men, they be having a giant group. So like the parade is crazy too, man.
That's what I said. For an actual con, and I mean the panels aren't bad either. I know we just talking about the cosplays, but as an actual con, it's not bad. But of course, a lot of, and I hate to say this, our community a lot of times don't really like to go to Dragon Con because there's not really any after parties, and most people care more about after parties than they do about cons. But it's like, no, Dragon Con, like I said, the only reason I've only been twice, because there was the first year I went, me and my nephew went, and then the second year I went, he was supposed to come, but last minute he pulled out, so I ended up going down there by myself, which still had a good time. Like I spent it, that was probably like the first con where like me and Nurse J. Becky really bonded. And because I was with her for most of the time, especially that one night. And like I said, for the most part, I was by myself kind of strolling around. And honestly, I really don't like being at cons by myself. So, it kind of made it a little different for me.
Oh, that's understandable.
And then last year, I didn't go for financial reasons. And then this year, it's really the same thing. It's like, because I'm trying to go to some other cons and do some things I've never done before this year. And this year is kind of like a Dragon Con, been there, done that. But next year, I might try to go back.
Okay.
Well, yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with enjoying new cons. I mean, I ain't been in the past 2 years, so I used to go every year, but like you, I started expanding to different cons, and that's just, I only got so much vacation days. So shit.
And they will try to trap you because, first of all, you almost have to be grandfathered into a host hotel. That's just how dedicated people are.
You got
the Dragon Con is in 5 hotels. It's mixed up, but don't let that, make it seem like that's a bad thing, because 3 of the hotels are all next door to each other and they're connected by a skyline.
Oh, nice.
So you don't even have to go outside to go through these
skyline and the underground joint.
And the underground. And then the 4th hotel is literally right across the street. And then the 5th hotel, where you get your badges from, is only like half a block down the street. It's like literally like a 5-minute walk down the street.
That's
so this is all 5 of the hotels that you go to. And then, like I said, they have their outside stuff. The one hotel keeps music. The one outside area keeps music going on. But you got to be grandfathered in, because people love Dragon Con. Like you said, people go out of the country and will come for Dragon Con. I don't know how I managed to get my hands on a host hotel the first year I went. That was just insane. That I think maybe because someone backed out and I managed to get in before somebody else did. But here's one of the reasons they do that. And I didn't know until afterwards. When I checked out of the hotel and I went home and I checked my email, they were like, "Thank you for your stay at Dragon Con. By the way, we've already booked your stay for next year."
Yeah.
They do it on their own. Now you can go in and undo it because they don't take any money. But they will just go ahead and book your stay for next year.
Yo, that's actually kind of lit. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, I'm telling you, man. I tell everybody, just go for a couple of days, man, and you'll experience it, and you'll be like, okay, I see what the hype is about.
Oh, and the best part, the vendors is in a completely different building. It's not in any of the hotels, but it's still on that same block. So it's like, again, like 3-4 minute walk, if that, across the street. It's in its own building, and the building is just for the vendors' halls. There's like 3 floors of just vendors. It's one of the biggest vendor halls I've seen.
Yeah, because it's got that type of crowd like AX and like New York Comic Con, where it's like over 100,000 people. So it's definitely a giant ass con.
And because it's just split up between hotels that people go back and forth between, that weekend downtown Atlanta is just full of people just walking the streets, because you're always going to the different hotels. So literally that whole block, people are just outside.
Yeah, people just outside. Because they doing the meetups and shit. Some of the meetups are inside, but it's a lot of meetups that happen outside. Like,
yeah, because I've already knew like the dedicated places that people will go for photo shoots. I went to some of them to do my like TikTok videos and stuff like that. So I know where all the dedicated spots are. But yeah, that's one of them cons where I know, especially now, we love doing our B&Bs and stuff like that. But I think Dragon Con, if you can swing it, getting a host hotel is the best way to go.
Yeah. Because that'll give you the whole experience,
What time of the month is it usually?
It's always Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, that first weekend is September, last weekend of August, first weekend of September. When it always, like I said, I'm going next year, because I'm gonna probably skip out on it this year, mainly because Anime NYC is right there in August, was literally like a week or 2 before it.
Yeah.
So but next year, like I said, next year I'm already gonna start pre-planning, and I'm gonna go to a lot more stuff, and then after next year I'm probably gonna pull back on some things. But yes, that's Dragon Con, everybody. That's the Dragon Con part of the podcast is real. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Next week, we got a guest that's coming through that's a little different from what we've normally done on the podcast. But trust me, you guys are still going to like it. So as we always do, you just tune in for Monday. You'll know who that guest is as we roll that out next week. Speaking of this podcast, as soon as this podcast is over, it will be available on YouTube right now, immediately, with it going available on all the other social media platforms, the Spotify, the Amazon Music, the Apple Podcast, and everything on Monday. So you guys will definitely be able to find multiple ways to consume it. We will continue to put links out there, so you guys will always know what we have going on. You can catch us. You can email us if you need to reach us at thepodcastisreal@gmail.com, or you can just hit up any of our social media platforms. We're on all of them at The Podcast is Real, with the exception of X/Twitter, only because that's too many letters for them. So The Podcast is Real is too long of a name. So over there, it's The Podcast S Real, because there was one letter that we had to take out. But everywhere else, we're good. Don't worry. X is like the least active place that we're at anyway. Mostly we focus on the others, especially right here on YouTube. So again, for the King of New York, Jasirii up in here. For the King of Cosplay, Venture Bros, I am your host, King Drell. And guys, just remember, the ending of Soul Eater might have been BS, but the podcast just like black people is real, because this is our day. We will see you guys next week. Salute! I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all.